honest.
Yeah. Let's see here. We're live. All right. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back here again with another episode of the Detox Podcast, episode 300 to be exact. And if you're new here and you enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, or hooping videos, do consider subscribing. We've got a whole bunch of that stuff going on around here. And when you do subscribe, leave a like or hang out with us in a live chat like you're going to do today. Helps us share conversations and laughs like this with more people. So do consider doing that. Now, we got a big show today. All right, it's 300. We had to bring somebody in here that was worthy of that, and I'm excited to introduce him. But before I can do that, got to talk to you guys a little bit about vacation time. All right? There's no better place to get a little quick getaway from everything, leave southern Wisconsin or the middle of Wisconsin, and head up to the UP up in Iron River than with Alpine House 2. Alpine House 2 is sponsoring today's episode. It's Airbnb located in Iron River, Michigan. It's a classic Swiss chalet duplex A-frame with a log cabin interior located directly across the street from the Ski Brûlée Resort in Iron River, Michigan. If you've never been up to the UP, I mean, now the seasons are changing a little bit, so you're not going to be able to be skiing, but it's beautiful, man. It is beautiful in the summertime. It's beautiful in the fall and spring now as things are opening up again. Surrounded by forests, lakes, rivers, Iron River more specifically. Makes Alpine House 2 the destination for fishing, hunting, hiking, etc. They've been pretty steadily booked up Thursdays through Saturdays, I will say, over on Airbnb. But if you can catch them early enough, reach out to them, tell them Darren, Rita, Detox sent you, and they're going to set you guys up. That's at Alpine House 2 on Instagram. That's at ALPINEHAUS number 2 on Instagram. You can stay up to date with bookings, renovations, and more questions and whatnot. Send them their way. One last time, that's Alpine House 2. Shout out to them for sponsoring the 300th episode of the show. All right. With all that good stuff out of the way, I'm very, very excited to be kicking it with my guest this week. He's a YouTuber whose videos have been seen well over 300 million times. He's met with some of the craziest people on the internet. So let's give a wet Detox welcome to Tommy G. He's here in the building.
I'm feeling very wet right now.
Are you? Good.
Moist, in fact.
I'm hoping so. I thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
You interview some of the craziest people, and maybe I'll let you explain what you do in a second, but could we ever see a Tommy G and Kanye West documentary?
If that guy will let me in a room with him, of course.
Did you see his recent thing with Academics, DJ Academics?
That's where he's having certain symbols that are sort of German in origin.
Yeah, he came out. No, actually, they just did one like 2 days ago, and he came out in a Black Klan outfit to do the interview.
He's a marketer, man.
Yeah.
And the guy's probably borderline insane. Like he's obviously a creative genius, but I also think when I listen to him on a podcast, he is just rambling, dude. I'm like, you're smart, but someone needs to be in your circle to tell you cut that shit out because sometimes you go too far, buddy.
Yeah, I've seen clips of him where this is why I think he's gone off as far as he has, where someone will try to correct him. It was at like a listening party, and they were like, hey, I don't like that you said, it was some weird line about Hitler that he said, and they were like, yo, this is kind of weird. And he's like, you shut the fuck up before you get banished. I'll banish you to the shadow realm. And I'm like, well, that's probably why no one speaks up to this guy.
He's basically like a cult leader.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people around him are sort of yes men. He doesn't seem like a guy that would tolerate a lot of
no's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe that. But for people that aren't familiar, Tommy, you do some crazy stuff on the internet. You speak to some of the most interesting people in the world. Can you fill someone in that's maybe not tapped in yet?
My mission is to film documentaries with one-of-one people, one-of-one situations. I love covering the underworld, but I cover everything from car thieves to fentanyl dealers to billionaires to SWAT teams. My life mission right now is basically going on cool side quests and being along for the action.
Yeah.
And so I am attracted to crazy people. Like if someone's doing something that's absolutely bananas, please DM me. I want to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've heard you speak about this before, that pretty much all of these situations you find yourself in, like people are voluntarily wanting you to come out. Like you're not like forcing the issue. You're not like pursuing them, chasing them. Like they're like, nah, man, come check this out.
Yeah, I have a guy that I might meet in Los Angeles, and he had to end the phone call. He's like, I'm trying to get 20 Honda CRVs today. I'm stealing them. I'll call you right back. He still doesn't call me back. But I've been able to wrangle into circles that really on paper I have no business talking to. Yeah. I grew up in the whitest suburb in Crystal Lake, Illinois, in a very safe area where you could bike in any direction, and there's no meth that I could see or anything wild. And somehow here I am talking to supervillains. I don't even know if I would say villain, but people that are doing very criminal activities.
Yeah. I think stealing 30 CRVs makes you super villain.
Okay, then we'll put them in that category.
Yeah, we can put them in that box.
But you find that these are just people too. Like there's a fentanyl dealer contact I have, and I hit him up because I'm trying to do stuff that's south of the border in Arizona and see if he has any kind of cartel connections. And he's a super nice guy. Like it's funny you think these people are monsters by their profession, but some of these people are people that if you didn't know and I invited them to a dinner and we were all having fun, you'd be like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what does he do? Oh, he sells fat. Oh, never mind.
You would have almost no idea.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. How do those conversations go? Like when you're like, hey man, like is it ever, are they ever awkward about it, or do you have to approach it in like a tender way when you're like, hey, I know you're my contact for this fentanyl thing we maybe did. Like, do you have any other people that maybe is that ever weird, or how do you bring those up?
I've learned as an adult, both running a business, having real estate, having a family, that being straightforward is the best way to be. Like I used to be such, like I would just pussyfoot around it. Like, do you maybe know anyone that has like now I just, hey, I'm looking for connections to the cartel. Do you got any?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking for someone that steals cars. You know, like, and I'll talk to them in a way that it's safe. Like I'll either talk to them on FaceTime audio or Signal, which that's probably going to get RICO'd based on how our Secretary of Defense is operating on that platform.
Yeah.
I mean, all the chats that I see on that are probably going to get exposed one day.
Yeah.
But I talk to them in a way that it's safe, and also now I've built a reputation where it's like, hey, if you don't believe that I can keep you safe, like here's 30 videos where I altered someone's voice and blurred their face, and I'm going to do the same for you.
Yeah, so they have a trust there.
And I'll send them the video before it goes live so they can watch through it. So, hey, there's a street sign I didn't blur that's 2 blocks from your house that you want me to okay, cool, I'll blur that. So when they watch through it and they'll send me a couple notes, we've gotten really good at knowing what to blur, so usually it's good to go. But we want them to feel as comfortable as possible so that we can ask them the tough questions. Mm-hmm. What is it like pimping? What is it like trafficking a human?
Do they ever try to make you, do they ever get upset, or I don't know how you work it out, do they ever get upset about maybe not necessarily locational identity stuff, but like what they specifically said or did? Are they ever like, nah, cut that out?
You know, sometimes I'll get guys that are like, the reason I'm going to go profile them is because, hey, you're part of the Bloods and you're part of, you're in Los Angeles. So the video's going to be called The Bloods of Los Angeles. And then I get there and they're like, they don't want to mention anything about the gang. They just want to talk about their music, which I get. Like, I'm not going to ask them any questions that are going to get them RICO'd. I know I'm not interested in like, hey, what happened on March 23rd when this guy died? That's a question for maybe No Jumper to
Adam
ask.
22 can
exactly.
ask that question.
But my thing is more the culture, the decision making, what makes you, and also I'm curious, what are the benefits? Like, okay, I'm going into a gang, I'm about to get stomped in by the Latin Kings. Like, gentlemen, what is your membership benefit? What does your brochure say? Like, why should I join this crew? I'm curious to know what the motivation was to do it.
Like what appeals to them? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting, and I think like it's got to be, or I imagine you have to be a pretty curious person to even think of these people to have on your platform.
One of the best things my mom ever did was, and she's a great mom, is I'm a triplet. I'm the youngest and the dumbest of 3 kids. And what my mom did is she would just take us to the library endlessly, and we became like, we would read everything in sight. So that's still to this day how I operate. So like right now I'm reading about the Comanches and how early Texas settlers, how they were battling and how wild that was. And I could go to I'm interested in about an endless amount of topics. I'm a very curious guy.
Yeah.
And if you're living a wild life, I would love to spend a day with you and learn what the hell goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. What's something, I mean, I feel like you've got to learn a lot from all the different characters you speak with on a daily or weekly basis. What's something weird maybe out there that you've learned in the last year?
One thing I've been wrestling with a lot is policing in America, because I see both sides of the issue. So I just spent, we're going to put out our 3rd video of the series with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
I saw
that. This week we're going to release one of a SWAT and gang raid. And it's a struggle because on one end, I think you need the police. I think you need good police in a city. And if we didn't have police, things would get really scary really fast. On the other end, some of the tactics that are used, like they call it proactive policing, where I'm going to look for the slightest thing. Oh, your back tail light's out, or they'll pull you over for the slightest thing and then just initiate a search or do things to start getting people in trouble. And on one end, I know that these guys are dealing with certified threats. Like they're dealing with kids that have shot people, killed people maybe. Yeah. Those kids need to go. But at the same time, I wrestle with, okay, so we're just going to throw this kid away for 20 years? That's our solution? Yeah. So I don't know if that really answers your question, like the weirdest thing I've noticed in like a subculture, but it's something that I've been really conflicted about is because I really enjoy some of those police officers. There's guys that I've become friends with,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of fun together. But then just the tactics they used in Jacksonville in particular.
Yeah, Jacksonville was under fire like pretty recently, right? Like I think within the last few years for like sexual assault shit they had. Allegedly, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
on
and
all
there's
the
I just spoke to their media guy today. There's a cop they have to fire. I forgot what he did. There was another cop they just fired because she accidentally shot a guy in the leg as she was disarming him. But the thing that I like about Jacksonville is they're very transparent. So they publicize, hey, if a cop gets fired, we're giving you guys the story. We're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
And that to me seems like a really cool model of policing, is at least you get to see a little bit into the weeds. And speaking of weed, that was another thing I really wrestled with them on, is because the people that the best way to get crime for a cop is having marijuana be illegal, because as soon as I smell it, now I have the reason to search your car without a warrant. And that's where I uncover the bigger stuff, the guns, the drugs, the this or that, and I can pull up your warrants. And if you look at who wants weed to be illegal, the biggest people in the lobbying side of it, it's private prisons, police, alcohol, and big pharma.
Yeah.
Like that, those four together, if they're acting together on something, you're like, oh God, this probably isn't for the best of the people.
Well, and it's like whenever Florida, even when Trump won Florida a couple years ago, like everybody, there was a direct ballot. It wasn't an initiative to legalize it, but there was like a, would you be interested in?
And they said no, didn't they?
No, it won. Weed
won.
Weed won. Drugs. It was weed and mushrooms in every state that they were on a direct ballot initiative. They won. Even in states and areas that were like super Republican, where like, typically maybe you'd think conservative Republican wouldn't go for that.
Yeah.
It was like everybody's like, yeah, dude, it's weed. Like, we're all cool with weed. It's only like you're talking like the people, like the people behind the scenes, the lobbyists, because of course it's going to fund prisons.
Which is a whole nother dark alley we
I'm
could
sure,
go down.
yeah. Have you done any prison stuff yet?
I kind of got snuck into a prison in Texas. So we had a gentleman who he served, I think, 30 years. He was a top-ranking, and if I move the table too much,
No, that's
I
okay.
accidentally
I'm
booted it.
sideways so it
But
doesn't move.
he was a top-ranking Mexican gang member in Texas. Did, I think, I want to say like 15 years of solitary confinement, because every time he would get out, he would just stab someone or do something to somebody. Gets out, changes his life around, gives his life to God, and now his big thing is, how do I prevent youth from going to prison, and how do I go into the prisons and talk to these guys and really lift them up? So he had us come in, and he's like, just tell the front gate you're church volunteers. I'm like, all right. So like, we're here for the church thing. So that they let us in. After we put the video out, the director of communications of Texas Prison was like, what the hell are you guys? Like, we didn't give anyone permission to do this. Like, I thought everything was signed, because we signed little papers. I guess the big thing is we were only allowed in like 2 different rooms.
Yeah.
I wanted full range of the place. Like, I want to sit in a cell with somebody. I want to work out with somebody.
Yeah.
But the conditions in prison, like, let's just take Texas, for example. They work for free. Every able-bodied person in there works for free.
Yeah.
I want to know who's making the money on that.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't even have air conditioning. So in the summer,
And in Texas, man.
dude, it gets up to like between 100 and 115 degrees inside the cells, even at night, because it kind of absorbs into the stone and then it releases at night.
Yeah.
So there's people dying of heat stroke. And I don't know, dude, like, it's a question. Someone that just killed their grandma or did a heinous crime, like, are we supposed to give them the Ritz-Carlton experience? Or like, what's the basic level of human decency someone deserves?
Yeah. In jail, especially if we're going to be profiting off their labor, right?
Dude, and then you see like big corporations, like I believe it's Walmart, Victoria's Secret, state governments like getting their license plates stamped and fabricated in prisons.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, dude. My thing I think it should be for prison is, I have a pipe dream to start a private prison.
Whoa.
And that sounds insane,
That
but
does sound insane.
But here's what it would be. It'd basically be like the Harvard trade school of prisons. So if you look at the contracting space right now, roofers, electricians, plumbers, they're all aging out of the market. They're like 45 up, and their backs are killing them. There's not a lot of new guys taking the turn. So, okay, you can apply to this prison. We're going to have it like really relaxed security. You're going to be able to work out. Our food's going to be healthy, and we're going to teach you we're going to teach you the trades. And my pipe dream of how you would fund it is, okay, you have to mathematically figure it out, but let's just say the first 4 years that you're out, we take 10% of your salary or your money that you get. And that way we're incentivized to train you to the ultimate best so that you're making the most money, and we fund ourselves.
Sort of cyclically that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they're making the money back to then help hopefully other people then step into those positions.
Yes.
I mean, Wisconsin has some programs like that too. I know I have a buddy of mine that he was in prison for a while, and he ended up going to college with me. We played basketball together in college, and friends of his all got like degrees in culinary degrees. Like that's a big thing in Wisconsin. You'll see a lot of chefs even at restaurants that you would be like, this is a really respectable restaurant. A lot of guys back there served time in prison. And
you got a brother with face tattoos making the best freaking ham sandwich you ever seen.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, well, that's what they had. It was there. It was an option. So they were like, I guess I'm going to do it. I'm here for, a few years. I might as well just learn this. And I think like having programs like that would be super beneficial, as opposed to like, let's just have them stamp license plates, or even in that you could maybe stretch, it's at least for the government and they broke the law. But like when you have like other companies having products made for them, like that's insane. That's absolutely inhuman.
And, okay, you get a lot of these guys and they're ready to get out and they have no money to their name. So they get handed the clothes they got arrested in. And, okay, we push you outside the fence, and now what? You don't have money for a hotel unless you have a really good family circle and support system, which a lot of those guys don't, which is why they're there in the first place.
Yeah.
I think if you worked for the last 10 years doing a hard job in prison, maybe you have $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 saved away so that you can get an apartment, a vehicle, clothes, and you're much more likely, I feel like, to go to the right direction rather than go back to the same thing that got you. And I've seen in real estate that I've rented to guys that just got out of prison for trafficking cocaine, and now they're a truck driver. Now they're in the factory. And these guys are consistent. Like, they don't want to go back there. They made their mistake. And now when you call their boss, they're like, oh, yeah, like, Jerome's the best on the job. Like, he's the guy that we count on. That's the guy I'm renting to. I don't care if he has a gun charged with cocaine. Like, I'm betting on that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, when they have some sort of structure or system that gives them a chance to excel outside of it, as opposed to like you're saying, like, let's just kick you out of the door. You're on your own now. That's true. It's something that's truly terrible. And I think doing something on the private prisons would be right up your alley. And hopefully that works out eventually, man. That would be super, super cool. What's something else that you want to cover? What's something that you haven't covered that Tommy G has not done that you're like would be a dream documentary?
A few of them. I want to interview the Taliban. Believe it or not,
Whoa.
tourism is actually flourishing in Afghanistan right now.
Really?
I'm not even. There's
Holy shit.
I'm in group chats on WhatsApp of people that are visiting. Single women, men from all over the world are visiting Afghanistan right now.
Is there a particular reason?
It's one of because they're sanctioned and not recognized as a country. That's actually one of their primary income sources now is tourism.
Whoa.
And it's a very beautiful place, very hospitable. Pakistan and Afghanistan are famous for being some of the most hospitable places in the country. We were going to go, but then we chickened out. We had the tickets booked. We had the guides lined up. I backed out the night before. It was, like a year and a half ago, we started bombing Iran. I'm like, oh, this is the last place I want to end up if World War III breaks out.
Yeah.
I want to do a cartel piece. I'm working on leads right now to see if that's possible.
Yeah.
I want to do front to back a wrestling season. I was telling you that before the show. I would love to do a college wrestling documentary. In the wrestling world, which is a very small world, like it feels like everyone knows everyone, there was a documentary called The Season done on the Iowa Hawkeyes, and that at the time they were just on a dynasty. Like I think of 20 years, they won the national title 18 of those years, and they just they were just known for being ferocious killers. Like the way they practiced, the way they competed, like some of the hardest working, craziest guys you could find were in a room fighting it out. And so that type of thing would be really cool to be around for an entire year and watch that.
Especially for people that don't know, you also wrestled. So that would be kind of a full circle moment, bringing two worlds together, which I think would be really, really neat.
Yeah.
How do you pick subjects in general? Like, how do you, I'm sure you get tons of people that message you wanting, to have something done on them. How do you decide, what makes the cut?
Ideas are these weird little things that kind of just float into your head, and I feel like you have a limited amount of time to act on them before they kind of disappear, and maybe they float in her head or your head, and someone else gets to see if they want to use it. I'm always getting sent leads. I'm always, whether Instagram or email, and people are always, hey.
How do you decide if you get two fent dealers and then you get somebody else that's, I don't know, doing something crazy with the police department? Maybe there's an informant or something. How do you decide?
Part of it is geographically. So if I know I'm going to Chicago and I have already one good story in Chicago, okay, what else is out there that I can document while I'm out there? Part of it is what haven't I covered yet? So it's I don't know. I've talked to two fentanyl dealers. I'll take the guy that's, the SWAT guy right now because I want to get into that world. Yeah. And then part of it is vetting who's legit. I'm working right now through leads of a guy that claims to be a hitman, and part of it is I don't want, like, I'm not a guy that watches horror movies. Like, if it's like someone's getting gashed up, like, I'm the guy that turns away or hides behind the couch because I don't want to see anything.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, I need to know that you're not just some 20-year-old kid
Fuck.
bullshitting me.
Yeah. How do you
And-
prove that?
Exactly. So
You got to send you like some footage of
I
him
had him
and some-
FaceTime. So he's like, I got a job in an hour.
No
I'm
way.
going to FaceTime you. So he FaceTimes me, and he's wearing a suit. So that's my first indicator. I'm like, I think this is bullshit. Like, one, I think he goes after mostly street guys. Like, he said most of his market is like, if a gangster guy, like, if some clique doesn't want to do it themselves, like, they'll put 10 bands up and they'll have him do it, kind of a thing. Which I'm like, I don't know.
10 bands is not enough money for me to kill somebody.
That's not enough. No.
No.
Maybe 15 though.
Probably. I think if we get in like the 17, 18, maybe.
Tomorrow is the first, dude. Rent's due.
Yeah.
15 grand. I might.
Yeah,
you know.
that would put me in a good spot for
But
sure.
He calls me, so he's wearing a suit, and then he pans down to the ground, and there's a torso wrapped in like a black garbage bag with like a string here. He showed me that for like 3 seconds. He's like, okay, I gotta go. Boom. And I'm still not convinced it's real.
Yeah.
He said that when I go to his city that he'll take me to an abandoned restaurant. There's someone in the walls, and I'll be able to verify that. And there's certain moral questions you have. Like, some people would ask, like, is that too far of a line? Like, if you know that he's killing people and you could just talk to him and you don't turn him into the police, am I part of the problem? And I think it's like, people are going to be doing whatever they're doing regardless of me. I am not law enforcement. My job is not to catch you. My job is to capture your story. And I think it's more valuable. At least we get to hear what's going on inside his head.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that? Interviewing a hitman.
Dude, I don't know if I could do that one, especially if I knew he killed somebody. I don't know if I could do that one. I think a lot of this, I mean, I think you ride a pretty controversial line anyways. I feel like you're pretty comfortable in that space. For me, I don't know. That's something that we've been joking about, the Slenderman stabbings? From a few years back, there was the girls in Wisconsin that like stabbed the shit out of their friend when they were in like 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
The one girl's maybe getting out soon. And she's been trying really hard. And we were like kind of in jest joking about like, oh, let's have her on the podcast when she gets out.
Why not though?
I don't know, man.
It's a journey to explore somebody's mind. Like, you're not saying this girl's the best. You know, I'm support, like, she's my ride or die. I think what she did is great.
Yeah.
You're asking her.
I think it's different from what I do. Like, what I do is not, I'm not a journalist at all, where I'm having like funny conversations. So like,
So
I'm
just
sure,
shooting the shit with it.
yeah. So like, if I even
yeah.
like today, like I'm sure like I would probably not interview the hitman, right? But if I like sat here and pretended with you, like yeah, whatever, I would do that. Then like I feel like that would be me being fake. Like, this is an extension of my actual self. Whereas like if you're a journalist, like with what you do, you're more so, from it, what it sounds like you're saying is like, I'm just here to ask questions. Like, you give me what you give me, and I'm just the vessel to give that to the public.
But if
right?
the interaction is purely joking, have a silly time.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, if you're a hitman, I can't just have a silly time with you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Because
that
it's like
makes sense.
I can't. Then it's like I'm co-signing you in some way. Whether or not I'm not
What if
co-signing
he's
your
good
action.
at his job though?
Maybe
You
he's the
wouldn't
goat.
co-sign him then?
Maybe he's the goat, dude.
Dude, what if he's the LeBron of the hitman?
He might really be. He's 20-year run. But I just that's where like I wouldn't be able to do that, because if they're actively hurting people, I don't want to be buddy joking with it. It'd be like if I was on a podcast with Epstein, dude, right? Like, you'd be like,
Has he done anything controversial? Would you say?
no, I don't know. But
Hey, release the files, Trump. I'm tired of you ran a campaign promising us that you're going to be this big dog and step up to the plate. Release the damn files.
yeah, dude, release the file. He can't. He's on that list, man.
That's-
He's on that list.
Hashtag redacted. Dude.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, there's certain stuff for like, where I think it's different in what you do, and I'm sure we'll talk about like mainstream news in a little bit too, where it's like in your case, you're just trying to showcase the craziest story. Where I can't have a guy on that killed somebody, because if I knew he killed somebody, and I'm just hanging out with him talking about my dick and like how the first time I jerked off and shit, like, it does nothing but almost humanize him and I'm basically doing propaganda for a hitman at that point.
Is it fair to say that some of these guys, you can like, there's a yin and yang with everybody. There's very few people I've interviewed that I would classify as evil.
Really?
Yeah, I would say a lot of these people, depending on which side of them you can get a very pleasant, enjoyable person.
I'm sure, but
I
mean,
see your conflict. I mean, I think it's interesting though, where, like, I know kids with multiple bodies in Chicago right now, and all this kid wants to be is a big rapper. And when I talk to him on the phone, he's so polite. He's so, like, I feel like if I pulled, like, he grew up in an area where you pretty much have to be part of a gang. Otherwise, you're going to be picked on. You're going to be stomped. It was kind of I think if all kids in his area, probably 90% of them are probably in the streets.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how much can I. At the same time, he does shitty things, and I know that.
Yeah.
But how much can I judge him? Like if he got moved into another situation,
Yeah.
he might be a pleasant guy.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it's one thing to like judge. I'm not saying like, oh man, your circumstances aren't your circumstances. I would never, invalidate somebody in that way.
You can't give people a pass.
But I can't give you a pass for killing somebody.
100%.
I can't give you a pass for that, or for like stealing somebody's fucking car, or stealing someone's credit card information. Like you caused real hurt.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're not hurting me, you're not whatever. But like I'm not gonna joke with you. Like I'm not.
Stealing's a
gonna hang out
big
with you.
deal.
Yeah.
It's got kind of almost too casual.
I'm sure.
Like the amount of stealing happening right now in this country. Like I just was in the Capitol Drive Walmart and I saw that they shut down their self-checkout aisle.
That Walmart is insane, by the way.
Dude, I've heard that's actually one of the most dangerous Walmarts in the Midwest. That place, you just stand there for 30 minutes and the stuff you see is just like, it's like Ripley's Believe It or Not, but it is right there happening.
Yeah, they need to bring Gail Lewis up in there. They need her.
Who's that?
Do you know who Gail Lewis is?
Who's Gail Lewis?
Gail Lewis is...
Gay Lewis?
Gail Lewis. Gail.
Gail.
She is the goat of Walmart employees on TikTok.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, they need her.
Hashtag Gail.
Yeah,
respect
I've been trying to get her on the podcast for a minute. She's from Morris, Illinois. It's not far.
She seems like a good lady.
Yeah, she does.
Dude, they got to have her. You're right. She'll have that ship up and running in no time.
That's what I'm saying. She could turn it around. But otherwise, dude, you go in there, bro, it's scary. I mean, from the clientele to the
there's
employees.
just guys walking around with extendo clips. There's guys like slapping their girlfriend. And you're like,
holy shit! Like I'm just excuse me,
Mom, come pick me up.
Yeah, dude, it's like I'm just trying to grab some apples. Like just chill out, bro. Yeah, dude, that Walmart freaks me out. That Walmart scares me. But yeah, I can't judge a kid for being from a bad environment and necessarily. You can't say it's not easier to do those things. It's definitely easier to do that and go with the hurt.
At some point, we all have that little voice inside our head and heart where, like, when you're doing something that you shouldn't be,
yeah,
and you either push past it and you do bad things, or you like respond to that line and adjust yourself. And
yeah,
it's almost like it feels like sometimes like a lot of those kids don't even have that voice in their head.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
Definitely, man. And I know, like, I feel like I've definitely heard you talk about this elsewhere, and I'm sure you get it all the time. But like when I watch some of the videos and like you're like interviewing these like the Kia boys or these other kids that like do dumb shit, like sometimes they're like not remorseful at all. Like you try to give them a chance to be like,
give them a softball to be like, do you feel anything? And they're like, no, kill everyone.
Yeah,
whoa.
It's like holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Like what if? And again, I think like they have been through some shit that probably you and I would not understand, but also. You're now putting somebody else through some shit. Like, and I get you're a child.
They're wreaking havoc. They're being terrorists, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're potentially killing another family to have this joyride, and then, like, you're going to go to juvie for 2 weeks, and they think that's not going to fuck them up. Like, you might be, like, fine right now, like, oh, I'm booling, like, all summer, whatever. Bro, that's going to fuck you up.
Dude,
in
be
4
careful
years.
Booling.
Yeah.
Not too much booling.
Yeah. A couple years from now, you're going to be destroyed. When you're going to have a night where you're just going to sleep, and that is going to flash before your eyes that you just murdered, like, 3 people to have fun. And nothing happened. Good for you that you got off. Like, it was, like, whatever. But it's like, dude. Or you destroyed somebody's saving. Like, somebody now was living paycheck to paycheck, because we all are, basically. And you destroyed their brand new fucking Kia or their brand new Hyundai, whatever. Like,
and now their life takes a downward spiral.
And who knows what they get into after that.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard. Like, we're not always the most, especially young men, are not always the most empathetic people when we're in our teenage years. But it's like, you got to have a line. Like you're saying, you got to have a line.
I haven't heard a lot of these guys, like a lot of these guys I've interviewed that do really criminal stuff. I haven't heard them do that much reflecting. It's I almost think you can't reflect on what you're doing and still do that job. You pretty much, a lot of them really numb themselves all the time, like incessant smoking, incessant pills, incessant like distractions. Yeah, I think a lot of those guys almost have to turn their brain off to keep doing what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I think you were in it was somewhere in California doing the car. It was the place with the most car thefts in the world, right?
Yeah, per capita.
Yeah, and the guy you interviewed in the woods or whatever, when he was fucking talking about, you're like,
Loco is nuts, dude.
Yeah, you're like, dude, like what, yeah, how do you feel? Like he's like, I got kids, like I go home, I do whatever, and you're like, does this ever get to you? He's like, yeah, I used to a little bit. I kind of just forget about it now, and I'm like, I can't, or else that'll mess up your head, bro. It's like, yes. Cause it should. Cause it absolutely should. You're fucking stealing people's brand new cars, gutting them, destroying their
For
lives.
parts. I'm going to paint people a picture on this one.
Yeah, please.
I land in Bakersfield, California, which most people haven't heard of, but it's kind of the Californians know it as the armpit of California. It's this very sketchy, in between San Francisco and LA, still low cost of living, and you just get a lot of weird stuff happening there.
Mm-hmm.
I land there at like 10 o'clock. I meet up with these streamers, and they're like, hey, we got this guy Loco we really think you should meet. So we pull up to Loco, and Loco's like, hey, I'll take you deep into the mountains where I stash my stolen cars that I've gutted. So I'm like, okay, and I see like he's got a gun on his hip, and I'm like, okay, like I guess we follow him. It feels like we were driving for like an hour or so, and we just get more and more remote, and he's leading us through these little like desert pathways.
Do you have a moment where you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on? Like,
I'm like, how well do these guys know him?
Yeah.
Like you just start getting a little bit paranoid, and like why? Like because a lot of people would ask, why is he willing to show that?
Yeah.
What's his motive? And then you start talking to him, and he just casually like, yeah, I just come here under the starlight, and me and two friends, we get saws, we get this, we get that. We just gut the entire car and sell it for parts. And, oh, like, what about the single mom whose car you just stolen? Well, they should have had insurance. Yeah. Like, there's such, like, a disconnect to, and then these are the same type of guys. Like, the profile of this person is if you stole his stuff, he would kill you.
Yeah. Kill your family or something.
Dude, he would go to the end of the reservation to get you.
Yeah.
And yet there's like disconnect when they do it to you.
Yeah, it's wild. And it's like, I did see someone in the comments. I don't know if it was that video or another video. I think it had to have been that video. They were like, dude, to gut a $30,000 car to get $1,500 and risk going to, like, you're an idiot.
And
also
split it between 3 guys.
Yeah.
So basically for $500, they're staying up all night doing sketchy nonsense under the stars, hoping that a police helicopter doesn't come up to them.
And just like, you're going to potentially financially destroy somebody else to get a tenth of what this car is worth and split $500.
The business
each
model
get $500
makes no sense.
Oh, it's so dumb.
There's a really interesting aspect to the car theft that I want to explore more. And that's with my friend Felix. That he'd come to Wisconsin to demonstrate at a car dealership how he does things. He's still at large. He's still doing ridiculous things. Like he was the guy that I said, like he was trying to get 20 Honda CRVs in a day, so he had to call me back. The international aspect to it, the amount of like these Iranian, Dubai type dudes that are just buying hot cars left and right because it's cheaper for them. If you get the Porsche, you get the Lamborghini, you put on a shipping container and send it to them. It's just, I guess, cheaper for them to do it that way, or there's a tax advantage, or I don't know. But there's a heavy international aspect to
so
this.
They'll have like someone steal it in a different country and then just ship it to them.
We steal it here. And we put on a container ship to Africa, the Middle East.
Oh yeah, dude,
certain seedy parts of
that?
Yeah.
How would you catch that? I mean the VIN number, sure, but like how? I mean, it's going overseas.
And they know how to wash the paperwork too. Like there's methods to get past that, which that's the type of stuff like I want to see the guy loading up the container car. Like there's a piece that I really wanted to get recently that the contact completely fell through, but it was an animal smuggling piece. And he was explaining to me like, yeah, like my partner knows how to get stuff in zoos with clean paperwork, and we sell them for a really high price. People are smuggling giraffes on a plane or a truck where they like have this like neck brace that bends the giraffe's neck so it can fit. Like horrific stuff. Like he's like, like he was showing me a U-Haul truck with a baby hippopotamus in it that was getting shipped to Missouri. Like there are just some people that I'm attracted to, the people that live lives that are like almost seem ridiculous.
Yeah. What do you think? Why are you so attracted to them? What draws you to them?
I was in corporate America for 5.5 years. I had a cubicle. I had a sales job.
Yeah.
And a lot of it really helped me to where I am now. Like, so I'm not shitting on that. But I felt so stuck. I felt like I was in this gray blob of a world where it was like unseasoned meat. That's what it felt like my life was like. Yeah. And so to me, if I have the opportunity to jump out of the cubicle and I'm going to, hey, fucking Pedro said come to Mexico. He's going to show you I'm going to Mexico. Like,
yeah.
You were
seeking some spice, it sounds like.
I have a high risk tolerance. And that's just something that I think I've been built with, and I'm willing to bet on myself. Like I believe, like I know the intentions I'm going to places with. I know I'm just confident, like if I can get into a room and be able to smile and have a good time, it's going to go okay.
Wow. That's a impressive level of confidence you have to be able to do that. I mean, I feel like you need to in the work that you're doing.
There's definitely fear involved. Don't get me wrong. Like there's shoots where we're driving up to where we're asking if this is a good idea, or there's shots that I've left to where I check the life insurance online and make sure like, okay, my wife is the beneficiary, everything it's paid this month. 100%, dude.
Yeah.
When I went to Tijuana to interview, I thought it was gonna be cartel guys, but it was kind of cartel adjacent. That was one where I was like, okay, yeah, let's make sure everything's lined up. There's like a weird feeling right when you leave the house where it's like, see you soon, and you're like, you hope, you think it's gonna be that, but you're like, we're going into no man's land here, like anything could happen.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude. Do you think at all, we're talking about how some of these guys, they get in these different situations and they sort of get almost numb to it. How do you stay like human? How do you stay down to earth, because you're dealing with a lot of crazy shit? Are you ever numb to it where it's like, yeah, this story it's bad, but it's not bad enough. Like, where is it bad? How does it get worse?
I've been desensitized 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you take me where I started as like this really naive, nerdy little
you
suburban
in the strip
boy.
club video from way back when.
That's a good example of like where I was.
Like, you were blown away by that.
Yeah.
And now you're like, you stand there confidently talking to these cartel adjacent dudes and asking them questions, like. That's a slide of something, that's crazy.
The analogy I like to give is this. If me or you were on the street and we saw someone with a gunshot wound in the chest, we'd be, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Like, I guess put your t-shirt on. Like, we'd be panicking. We'd be out of sorts. If we were an ER doctor, we'd be like, all right, I'm going to need someone to hold his legs. I'm going to need, does anyone have some cotton? I need it would just be business as usual. I feel like there's an element of that, and I'm not proud of that. Like, there is an element of like, there's an interview I was doing in a crack house in Boston, because to me it was like, crack is something that I think is kind of disappearing. Fentanyl is replacing it.
Yeah.
And so crack is kind of an era in drug history that I think is going to be gone. And so I'm like, I want to see someone cook up crack before it's extinct.
Yeah.
So we show up to this apartment. It's this old man's, it's the customer's house. It's like this old man on disability. And this, I'll say kind of like a YN type character with the ski mask is in there at this grandpa's kitchen stove cooking up crack so that he can then serve to him. And we're almost done with the interview. My camera guy Miguel is like, hey, ask him if he's ever killed a customer. I'm like, okay, so hey, have you ever had it where things went wrong like that? And he's like, yeah, there's this one lady. I was at her house. She bought from me. She asked for again. I sold her again. She asked again. And I thought, you know what? If I give her one more dose, that's it. She's toast. And sure enough, I handed her the dose. I walked out of the door, and the junkies called me the next day and said, yeah, like, Shirley's not here anymore.
Damn.
And I just asked the next question. Like, I didn't stop and be like, did you just confess to basically a murder on, like, that was a moment where I was like, holy shit. Like, I think I need to journal. I need to reflect.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, when we kind of were almost joking about this other guy with this card situation, how he's just like, yeah, I don't let that shit get to me. But it's like, at a certain point, like, what you're doing to your own mental health, because you're like interviewing these insane people. It's become so regular for you that, of course, some of that's going to be, it's going to be doled down a bit. Like, it's not going to be like I hear about it, or like I tune in for, people that watch you. We get it like a documentary a week. Right? But like, you were a week straight filming a different thing every day, to get all these things done. So like, that week, by the end of it, I mean, it's the 6th or 7th crazy fucking person you've talked to.
That's the tough thing about the job is, it's an amazing thing, but like, sometimes you live like a bucket list in a week or two.
Yeah.
Like in California, I'm going to touch down on Wednesday. Thursday is going to be day in the life of a billionaire. One day we're going to cover Scientology. Next day we're going to cover squatters. We're going to cover a Mexican gang. We're going to cover the Bloods. It's like all these dynamics of society that we're going to cover in a very short span. And I wouldn't change it for the world. To me, it's an absolute dream job. I'm always excited to go on the next trip. I'm always interested on the next subject.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, there's something to be aware of not losing certain levels of humanity, of like, I don't know, but you hear enough people be like, oh yeah, like, I mean, how many crews have we gone to where there's people in that crew that have smoked somebody 100%? And like, so like it's, I can say like,
I mean, even the regular news desensitizes all of us, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, if you turn on the nightly news versus the morning versus the nightly news is insane. But like, especially you turn on like the nightly, even your local Milwaukee news, it's like every day, like, oh, this person got shot at, or oh, this terrible thing happened, or this terrible thing. And they do that because, they want views or whatever, but that desensitizes us too. So it's like, I think in general, we have a desensitization problem.
That's a society-wide issue.
Yeah.
And I'll imagine these kids, I mean, one of my best friends is, he's in his 50s and his kid is just going into college, and they were telling me when he was growing up, like they saw some of the stuff that he was looking up, like as a 12-year-old, some like extreme porn. And it's like, oh, and imagine some of these kids that are having access to the internet unfettered from a really young age. They're going to stumble upon by beheadings, the craziest, stuff that just, and you see that enough of as a kid. And I don't know, dude.
It fucked you up, man. I mean, dude, I know people that have gone down a very scary path. And like, we would all kind of joke that we had, we all saw those beheading videos when we were in fucking 7th grade, 8th grade, and and we saw these like you heard 2 girls in 1 cup, and like somebody would show it to somebody, and it's like that, some people it affects differently, but other people, like, you just see, I can't imagine it got better, and I can see where they're at now. And it's not specifically that one thing, but it's a combination of that. If you're so desensitized, then who knows what could happen, or who knows what's going to affect you.
The thing I think that combats it really well, or balances it out, is probably a better word, is just I have a very simple, grounded life outside of these videos.
Yeah.
I wake up, we load up the dog and the baby and my wife, and we go walk somewhere.
Yeah.
We take a couple walks in the woods every day. We read. We cook dinner. Like, I don't have this highlight lifestyle outside of these videos. I'm not balling at the club. I don't have a Lamborghini. Like, there's nothing that I'm doing outside of this that is like high ticket or like roller coaster moments, maybe you could say.
You're not in LA in the scene, like going out to fucking.
I'm not dapping up Brad Pitt.
Yeah, you're not like going to influencer parties every other weekend and like trying to keep the name buzzing. Like you're doing a very different thing.
I'm aware that the simplest things in life are what most of life is, and if you can't enjoy those moments, you're screwed. So if you can't be pumped about having a family dinner, like little babies on the counter watching mom cook up the risotto, and like I'm slicing up onions, like that is like the beauty of life right there.
Yeah.
And I feel like as long as I can hang on to that, I'm gonna be a-okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great that you have that. You have to have like that foundation, that rock back home to be able to do and put up with the crazy stuff.
My wife is the best. She's the glue behind the operation. She makes the whole world spin while I'm out there on missions. Like she just, without her, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah. How does she does she ever get stressed out when maybe you're going to meet with the cartel and you're checking the life insurance policy and stuff like that?
That was me. She was a little nervous about Mexico, but basically everything else, she's less nervous than I am.
Wow.
She just kind of like she hears me on the phone all the time with different contacts, like setting things up, getting to know these guys, figuring out what we're gonna do. So by the time I get there, I have a little bit of a relationship, and she just lets go and she trusts the process. And like something that would make me nervous, she's like, "Oh, no big deal." So like she's kind of
That's
cool
legit.
as a cucumber.
She's holding it down. You know?
She is.
It has to. How do you
shout out Sweet Cheeks, by the way?
Shout out Sweet Cheeks. How do you protect yourself, man? How do you protect yourself? You're talking to this one guy in Bakersfield or whatever. Like he's got a piece on him. Other people have piece on him. It's usually, from what I can tell, like you and your camera guy. Like how do you guys?
Yeah, it's a crew of 3. Me, Keegan, and Miguel. They have 2 cameras, and we're out.
How do you protect yourself on these shoots, or can you? Like I don't know how it works.
The biggest threat to the operation is it's not the crew that we're meeting up with. Is what do these guys do to another crew last night or last week that I don't know about, and I'm not going to ask about because I don't ever ask about street beef because I get to leave the area safe. Yeah. I don't want to have them talk about something on camera, talking shit about this gang or that gang, where all of a sudden that someone dies because of it. So, but my biggest fear is like Memphis or St. Louis. We'll be in these places where every car that drives by, it feels like a drive-by shooting is about to happen. Like I'm like sometimes I probably look pretty cowardly. Sometimes a car will be passing by. I'm like kind of like moving behind another car. Like I'm just gonna avoid this one a little bit, a little bit, 100%. And also it's like we don't give anybody a reason to be upset with us. We're not aggressive with people. I'm not trying to big dog anyone. I'm not trying to ego anyone. So they know I'm there to ask questions and have a good time. I'm along for the ride. Like I always talk about it like this. I'm like, what Steve Irwin is to crocodiles, you are to your world. So just be Steve Irwin for a day and take me into your world and let them operate.
That's a good way of putting it. When you're interviewing Steve Irwin, when you're interviewing somebody that's in their specific thing, maybe they would be seen by the broader public as like a terrible person, right? Like they do a terrible thing. Whether or not the human being is terrible, the actions they take are bad. What goes through your head when like, in that one instance, they're confessing to a murder, or they're maybe confessing to really fucking people over or scamming people, whatever. Like, because you have to, and you do play it well, where like you have to be like kind of just calm. But are you ever thinking, like, what are you thinking when somebody's like, yeah, I'm stealing? I remember you had this like scammer on a while back, and it's like he's talking about all this money that he made stealing people's like credit card information and whatever, and it's like, what are you thinking in your head when he's like saying that to you?
Part of you is trying to figure out if it's true or not. Part of you is figuring out, like, one thing you can really read someone is how their eyes look. Like, you can see, like, there's guys that almost have like crazy or like demonic eyes. Like, and they're like, they're usually they're the shooter. They're like the quiet one in the background. They're the ones with the gun. They're very, like, you can just tell they're very aggressive. Like, those are the guys that kind of scare me a little bit. Or like talking to, like, there was another guy, like a street hitman that we talked to, and as he started naming some of the, I'm just like, it just got me nervous. Like, I'm sitting in this apartment building. There's a knock on the door, and I'm like, is it the cops? Is it someone that he got into it with? And then it was just one of his friends coming in. But like, there's some moments that have a heavy level of suspense, and you can't ever feel that through the camera. Like, I wish this, like, if I could just click play and I could film everything through my eyes, and then the emotion that you get from it. Like, there's nothing like just being in the field experiencing something. Like, a situation can be very scary, and then we watch it back on film and we're like, people are going to think we're pussies. That doesn't look like anything is happening right now. But I promise if you were there, your blood would be pumping.
Oh, yeah, dude. I can't imagine. Something I think about, like, when I'm thinking about these different individuals and, like, the lives that they have to lead, it's got to be so stressful for them. Like,
dude,
I know they're
imagine?
desensitized, but I couldn't imagine, like, looking over my shoulder. I once delivered a pizza to a guy who straight up, he thought that it was, he ordered a pizza. He did order a pizza. When I got there, the door opened, his fucking gun in my face. I'm like 17 years old, 18 years old. And I'm like, whoa, like I just like panicked immediately. And he's just like, oh, it's you. And I'm like, I said pizza. Cause he was like, who is it? When I knocked on the door, I said pizza. And he's like, well, people be saying that. Like, but you ordered one 40 minutes ago, man. Like, how, like, I couldn't imagine living that kind of life, that I'm that paranoid that, like, even though I just called a pizza, that I think my ops would maybe know. And they would be plotting on that. Like, you know,
have to be pretty blazed to be that paranoid about the pizza guy's actually the secret op.
Yeah.
But I think you're onto something really good, which is you would look at the average music video and be like, being a gangster rapper is so cool, so enticing. You're just the man. You look like you're pretty rich. In reality, the average street guy I meet, like, has a depressing life. Most of them are living with their mom or their girlfriend. Most of them are smoking weed incessantly all day, sometimes pills, sometimes lean. Most of them are like, they're not expressing their masculinity properly. Like, it's very fragile, where it's like they get really mad about the littlest thing, or they, but then they're not able to be like vulnerable, or like they're not living. A lot of these guys are not living. Your favorite rapper is probably living a life that's not that cool.
Yeah.
Like, you see the big moments on stage, but then when he goes off stage and drinks lean until he passes out, he's cheating on his girlfriend with someone that he met that night, and he's bleeding money because he has 16 members of his crew with him that he's paying for them to be in hotels, plus his lean addiction's out of control, where he's not even making any, like, we don't see that side, but I would never trade places with the average rapper out there.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I bet, man. Especially, like, I know that is typically an issue, especially when young guys come up, and if they come from an environment that maybe wasn't the most productive and doesn't teach them a lot about healthy masculinity and expressing their emotions and stuff like that.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, financial literacy, right? And then all of a sudden you have this song that blows up,
and you're the man,
and you're the dude. Everybody's like, "Yo, this is it." So you feel like you're the man when you're around them, or when, maybe when you're on stage or whatever. But then, you get off and you're right back to like numbing the pain of that you don't even know how to feel about any of it.
Going to the earlier point where we're wondering, like, do some of these guys feel regret or feel any remorse for some of their things? Yeah. I think some of them, why they might not, is you're talking about kids. Like, some of these guys at 8 years old have seen someone get stabbed or seen someone get shot in front of their face.
Yeah.
9 years old, they see their mom getting beaten in front of them. Like, from a young age, they've seen such, like, there's you kind of have to go crazy. Like, I think a lot, like when they call the crash out era, I think these are just a lot of young guys that they're going insane, and they're expressing it that way. And it's because they see so much wild things. Like, it either eats you alive and you just numb yourself, or you take action out there. And
trauma's a bitch, man. And I think, like, they experience, if you experience enough traumatic things, especially on that level, right? Like,
extreme.
That's extreme trauma. And it's physical trauma. Like, this is like out in the real world, like things that they cannot control.
Seeing close family members die in front of your face from gang violence,
like
street violence.
That is going to fuck you up. And it like your brain, the human brain is so powerful. It's gonna, like you're gonna either put that in a box that makes you maybe almost a sociopath, where it's like, oh, that doesn't affect me, none of this affects me, and you're kind of insane in that way, where they're so desensitized where they're able to do these terrible things, or they crash out and they're, explosive and whatever. Like you can't.
And really, what is someone that's in pain,
Yeah.
expressing that pain in a non-productive way for society.
100%. 100%. What do you think? How have you gotten better at docs, man? Like you've been doing it now for what, like three-ish years?
Mm-hmm. One is spending a lot more time with the people. It used to be I could pull up, like when you look up Fort Lauderdale with Little Cricks, I think they call it Murderdale or something like that, or Lauderkill. We spent like 45 minutes on that block, put it down to like 15 minutes, boom, put it out.
Yeah.
Now we're probably getting, like, for some of our smaller pieces, like 6 to 10 hours of footage. Some of these pieces we're getting 20 plus hours of footage. So just a lot more hands-on time, because there's only so much you can get to know from somebody. The only way is time. There's no way around it but to spend time with them. I would say that. I would say just my team is firing on all cylinders. We got Miguel, we got Keegan, we got Jack, we got Dre, we got my wife, we got a guy, I don't know if he's in Ukraine or Russia, but it's like the weird symbols when he types that makes the thumbnails.
Nice. Good.
We
Shout
have
out
this
to
guy
him.
Andrew that helps. Like he's been in the documentary space. We just have a lot of different people that are contributing and building it even better.
Yeah.
And so and these guys, like they absolutely bust their ass and hustle, and so like we just are a well-oiled machine right now. And it feels like you're almost like a SEAL team on a mission. 3 of us deploy out in the wild somewhere to some nuts place.
Yeah.
We go, we do our mission, we get back, debrief,
Rest of
on
the
to
team
the
gets
next.
to work. Yeah, we just kind of do it up.
Mm-hmm.
Props to you and the squad. You guys are
The squad.
You
man.
guys are crushing it. Like you guys are turning them out. I mean, it's still weekly videos and shit. Like that's insane. How do you keep everything organized, man? Like from a filmmaking perspective, right? As somebody who's interested in that type of thing, how do you organize all the footage?
Tangential figure. So like the way I think, I'm always in different loops. The good news is we have my guy Miguel, he's the guy that has all the hard drives. In fact, I just upgraded where now it's going to be like 24 terabytes worth of footage that's going to be in one room. I have to figure out where to put this room because I do have a suspicion that one day the feds might try and raid it. So I just want to make sure that they don't know where it is.
Wow.
But he's the guy that he is kind of, I would call him the director of cinematography, and he runs Jack and Dre and divvies up the different, what we need to get done by this week. And so he runs a lot of the organizational side of it. I run all the contacts, and Keegan helps with the ideas too. But like my big job is when we show up, like 90% of the people are talking to, because I line them up, I figured them out, I know what we're going to do, and just making sure that like from morning to night, we're out shooting, covering what we need to do.
Yeah, that you're basically you're the front man of it, but you're also doing like a lot of the scheduling with the other people that will be in.
Yeah, like I don't have any assistants. I don't have to me, I like to have my hands on it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Plus, the more you pass off, like the more things go wrong, or like, so I want to be like, I think like there's one top skill I bring to the team. Like one of them is like my closing rate. Hey, get me on the phone with a fentanyl dealer. Give me 5 minutes with him, and I'm gonna be able to tell him, like, give him assurance that we're gonna take care of him. We're gonna keep him anonymous, and we're gonna get a story, but we're gonna get into it and ask all the tough questions that we need to do. Like that's like I'll hear other people like they're like, I think my friend JJ might do this. Like, let me ask him. And they're like, JJ, this guy, Tom, like they sit out all nervous. Hey, JJ, it's Tom. This is what I want to do. Can we do it? Like that's my.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing to have though, because you have to, especially with the kind of people you're meeting, with the volume of people you're meeting. Like you don't have a lot of time if you're planning a trip to Chicago, right? And you're trying to get 3 or 4 videos done. If you've got 3 of them figured out and you're trying to work that 4th one, you don't really have a lot of time to like pansy around it. It's like, hey, dude, we're doing this day, this day, and this day. I have time for these. This chunk of time. Can you do this or can you not fucking do this? It's important to be able to be that straight up and have a close rate like that.
Beating around the bush is something that we grow up with in the Midwest for some reason.
We're great at it.
We're way too polite to ever, like, you could be 30 minutes late for a dentist appointment, but if your neighbor Nancy is talking to you, you're like, oh, how are the kids doing? Like, you don't just say, Nancy, I like you, but I gotta go right now. See it? Like, there's something, it's a gift and a curse in our culture because we are very kind, pleasant people, but it also, we get walked on because of it.
Yeah.
And you like, so I've learned a lot in this business of just having a backbone about certain things.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't mean you have to be rude. It's just like, hey, this is what it is. This is what time it is. Can we do this or can we not do this? And
I think all of us are looking for, like, I want to know what you want from me. I want to know exactly, like, let's not beat around the bush helps nobody because then everyone's kind of confused about what's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%. That's I think those are two valuable skills to have doing what you do.
They started like it took a long time to develop. I remember when I started real estate, I knew nothing about it, knew nothing about rehabs. I can't fix anything. I got a 4-unit building off 28th and Clybourne, and she's now one of my favorite tenants, and she's still to this day, Sylvia. She had me wrapped around her finger, dude. Like I was like about to have a heart attack because every little thing, like she was like pushing me around. I was her little whipping boy, like. And then I started getting like, no, like you can't do that. Like as soon as I started standing up for myself, like life got so much simpler and easier. And so like she taught me a very valuable lesson because, man, like right at the beginning of that, I was like a fish out of water. I had no idea what to do, what to say, how to get things done. Yeah. And now just like I have a situation where I drove past their house. I had to take pictures for insurance. There's trash everywhere in the backyard. It looks like a freaking like, hey, instead of just like, I just call it, why does the backyard look like a trash can, dude? Oh, well, the thing about it was my brother was supposed have it done by today. Send me pictures. Thank you. And that's it. Like, so anyways.
No, but you're not even rambling. It's a good skill to have because even as, I mean, creatives that listen to this show, like there's tons of people that do when they're trying to be their own boss or they're a freelancer or they're whatever. And something especially Midwestern, I feel like creatives and freelancers do. And I did this for a long time. It's like, I'm scared to say the price that this work is actually worth because I'm like, oh, I don't want to whatever. And then you find out that like if I had just said that price, they had that money, like they could have paid me that money, but I was so nervous, or maybe they said, oh, I don't know, and I was like so scared to lose the contact. You folded
so quickly
that I immediately folded, and I could have just stood on business and they would have found the money and they would have had it.
I found that the cheapest clients are always the worst.
That's true, 100%.
They're the most work, they're calling you day and night, they make your life hell, and they barely get you paid because they're cheap.
Yeah, and it's crazy. The people usually that pay the best are the easiest to deal with too. Like they, for some reason, they get it. It's it is this weird conundrum that we find ourselves in. Okay, we got some other things to get to. I want to make sure we hit today. The Kia Boys doc. Obviously, I'm sure you're probably sick and tired of talking about this, but we're here in Milwaukee.
Let's do it. Yeah, we got it. We're in Milwaukee.
We have to. The Kia Boys doc's kind of what propelled you into this.
That changed my life.
Yeah, that I mean, that is wild. And I know like you've sort of since then. I mean, now I feel like in your groove of like you're always on the line of controversy, like dealing with people that are controversial figures, and I'm sure dealing with plenty of backlash and plenty of praise. How like did you know when you were putting that together that like there's going to be a reaction from this?
I thought I was going to totally bomb. At the time, I was still doing prank videos, and I was just starting to experiment with other things. I wrote a list called Ideas That Could Change My Life, and the Kia Boys was on there, but also running a marathon without training was on there. Jumping out of a plane while eating the world's spiciest chip was on there.
Yeah.
I just was throwing spaghetti at a wall because I felt like I had more to express, but I'm like, I have 80,000 subscribers right now that know me for pranks. If I just switch it to something else, I feel like I'm going to lose everyone. But my channel was already dying at that point, so I'm like, I was at my wit's end. And I'm like, who's going to really care about Milwaukee? Like, it's kind of this overlooked place. So when it took off, I just, like, it was almost like, holy shit, like, I'm on to something. But I had no idea it was going to go the way it did.
Really? Wow.
No idea whatsoever.
When you were filming it, like, when you actually got out there and filming it, was it the same video guy that you're with now, or was it somebody else?
No, that was my guy, Ellis. He's a jiu-jitsu friend of mine. He used to do all my prank videos with me.
Yeah.
But, no, now, like, I got...
When you were in there and like you guys are doing that, you got your friend helping you out. Is there ever a moment where he's like holding the camera like, bro, what the fuck?
Alice is a pretty chill guy, so I think he was just like kind of shrugging and just kind of he's a guy that he's good in that environment.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool to know. I feel like when it did start gaining traction and people were like, obviously covering it positively or covering it negatively, like what was going through your head? Because I mean, I imagine that was it at that point probably your biggest video?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was on the trajectory, like it got shot out of a cannon. So it was definitely huge for me. And I remember the first interview I ever did with mainstream media, this lady calls me up and she's like, oh, I thought it was a really interesting story. I think it's fascinating. I want to talk to you about it. Sits down. The first question is, so I saw that you were laughing with the Kia Boys. What do you have to say to the victims of families that have died? And it was just like it was like I was so caught off guard, and so like I felt like she sucker punched me almost, because she came in with like this really like, oh, I thought you did a great job, and then she like made a hit piece about me.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think overall I get very positive feedback on what I do.
Yeah.
Like I know in Milwaukee some of the feedback that was negative. Like I remember I went on this podcast show, and he's like, he's like, y'all is exploiting the black youth. And I'm like, I didn't interview him because he was black. I didn't interview him because he was young. I interviewed him because someone said they found a Kia boy that steals cars, and I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And it just felt kind of weird to think like getting put in a racial box or hey, I'm exploiting a kid that steals cars because he shared his story, but him stealing 200 or 300 cars from his own community, that's not exploiting anybody. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. And then you get like a small segment of people that are not happy no matter what. Like, you know, if I put out a video about the hood, hey, I don't want to see any more of that. Then I put up a video out about the police. Oh, now you're a federal agent. Or just like, okay, like there's certain segment of the population you're never gonna please.
Yeah.
But I would say like overall, like I haven't had one interaction in Milwaukee where it's like in person where anyone's given me a hard time,
like a crazy hard time about it. That's positive then, I would say. I mean, I think like the thing that's interesting about what you do, and especially with that, is like it had been covered a little bit, but like
no one talked to the guys doing it.
Yeah, no one had really spoken to them, and so I think like that there is value in that, whether people have issues with it or whatever. And I joked with a friend of mine back when it had come out. We were on the show and we were joking like, if that was my Kia, you're party to a crime, but like whatever. We were kind of joking that way. Like how. Did people come at you at all, like from that angle? Like, hey, dude, like this is. I mean, obviously that one lady, it sounded like was like, hey, what do you have to say to these families that die? But that's a little intense.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, the thing is, her biggest issue, I think, with that was joking with them, and I'm like, there's like, and this is where she was a typical mainstream media reporter, which there's guys that do really good local work. Like, I'm not saying there's not good mainstream media journalists, but yeah. They think like, okay, lady, go in there with a suit and wave your finger at them and tell them how bad they are and tell me how that interview goes. Like, I don't know if she could tell, but like that kid had a pipe on him in his sweatshirt, like things like.
If she can even get the interview, right? Yeah.
And no one would ever let them come to their block, dude. You see them start setting up with they look too official. They look too like, no one would talk to her. And so I was just like, the fact that you had an issue that I joked with something like I don't know, it was just very confusing.
Yeah. I can get that. That's a weird angle to come from, especially if she kind of fronted like so politely at the beginning, like, oh, you did such a great job, not being consistent. I feel like is a little weird. What like something that I've seen when I was like doing research on and getting ready for the show, and this is a big episode for us. You're obviously a huge guest. We appreciate your time. Is people were with the exploitative word, right? Where people from what you're describing, right, where it's like somebody's breaking the law. Me talking to them about their experience doing that, how is that worse than what they're doing? And the only pushback that I've seen that I think maybe is valid, and I'd love to hear you kind of speak on it, is, well, you're the one making money on the story. So that was the only thing. And so that was something that I was interested to hear you about. And how do you square that? Because you seem like a super down-to-earth guy, and you're more like, it seems morally like you have your head on your shoulders. Like you lead a good life outside of the crazy stuff that we're chasing here. How do you square that when people are like, you're making money off this. Sure, you're not doing the crime, but you're almost...
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So this is how I think about it, is I never got into YouTube for money. So I did YouTube for probably 5 years where I was losing money consistently and still putting out videos and still have... All I ever wanted to do was replace my meager corporate income so that I'd never had to go back to a cubicle ever again. Yeah. And I was very passionate about this job. And it just so happens that it has grown to a point where I'm making more money than I ever thought I could make. Yeah. But it's never been... Like, I don't follow what's trending. I don't just do something because, oh, this is going to be money. I think about the story and I let the passion of the story build. And if I believe that that's going to take it to the point where it will make money on its own because people feel the passion in it. Yeah. And then the other thing is, okay, do you want me to be an amateur or professional? If someone is going to be a professional, they have to make money off of their craft. It's the same thing in the wrestling world where there's academies like Ben Askren's Academy where you pay like $180 a month to go, and people are like, oh, you're gatekeeping wrestling, it's too expensive. Okay, you can either be a volunteer coach that runs your kids club on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or you can be a total professional where you have to make money off of what you do. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. And I think the exploitive word is funny too, because I would guess there's not one person in America that gets more requests to go visit somebody in the hood than me. I have guys every single day, like, and I don't want to flex this, but like when people say the exploitive thing, I'm like, there's a reason people are, if they say, hey, Tommy's coming to our hood, they're pumped about it. Yeah. Why? Well, one, we've had multiple people get record deals off of our videos. Multiple people.
Certified Trapper, that's your work, right?
I don't want to name individuals because I don't want to take credit for like. I love Certified Trapper. He was a guy that I think was going to make it regardless. I played a very small part in his journey, but there's other guys out there too where they were on a video on the channel, label signed them, and to me there's nothing like I can calculate in my head like we've put M's in the street.
Yeah.
We've put more than $1 million in the streets.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, probably closer to $2 million.
Yeah.
So
when people say they exploited, that kind of rubs you the wrong way. I get that.
To me, I just don't think they have the full picture.
Yeah.
All I would say is, are they like the person that would be saying that? Are they requesting you to go to their city? I don't. Okay. Like then.
Yeah.
And they benefit. Like I'm not saying every person that's in a video gets a record label deal.
Yeah.
Obviously not. But like.
When, like you said earlier, they ask you. Like you're not. You might be.
I only go places I'm invited.
Yeah. Like you might be kind of like searching for things within a certain lane, but like from what you've said today, like people come to you. It sounds like. Yeah.
And like I might fish for leads. Like I might put at the end of a video, like looking for a jail that'll let us stay for 24 hours and film the experience, or looking for, XYZ, and then they'll contact me off of that.
Yeah.
But people are inviting me to go cover their story, and we built up the biggest currency I have on my channel is trust. We have got to a point where someone that's trapping out of Tijuana, someone that is stealing cars, a billionaire, a controversial presidential candidate. We did a piece on RFK Jr. Like all these different people are trusting me to come into their life and do an accurate, fair job of reporting on them. And so like that to me is worth everything. And I know I can go into I feel like I can go to almost any neighborhood in this entire country and be welcome because people know how I'm going to treat them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a trust and respect that not a lot of people can have, especially in the mainstream sense, right? What do you think mainstream media gets wrong? Like right now, currently, obviously, I mean, we know like the talking heads and the pundit shit is terrible on Fox News, CNN, that shit sucks. But like, what do you think maybe they're missing that people are so infatuated with what you're doing and people like you, like Brandon Buckingham and stuff like that?
The difference is we're amateurs. We're total amateurs, but we're on an honest quest for the truth, and we're personable. What mainstream media has done that I think is so wrong is they've made everything so corporate and sterile and buttoned up and almost uncomfortable to be a part of. Like it doesn't feel real. Even the voices that they're speaking in are like these weird accents that only news reporters have. Yeah. They have the resources. I mean, I wish they would get back to like getting into the weeds and really diving into pieces, because too much of it is that you have to go to some sterile corporate office. They're going to be like, do they even read stuff that they wrote? I don't even know like what their prompter says. So what people are looking for right now, we're in this like post-modern disinformation filled world. They are looking for an authentic and imperfect human. And I think they have too much of an appearance of trying to be perfect and always having the right answer and being too polished, where people know I'm a fucking idiot. And and they love that. There's a certain, like, if you're willing to be vulnerable and yourself, like, I'm not walking into the hood acting like I grew up here too. Like, give me my chain. Like, people know I'm just kind of this like nerdy kid that grew up in the suburbs and somehow found his way into this world. Yeah. And people can feel that.
Yeah. I think a great example of that, right, is like during the pandemic when a lot of like news organizations, even like talking heads on like ESPN and shit, right, people are having to do a lot of more stuff from their home and they're like Zooming in or Skyping in. And there would be, I forget the viral clip of some dude made it so awkward. He's at his house. Obviously his kids are there. He's like he's just dressed up on the top. He has nothing, like shorts on underneath, and because he's just going to be waist up. And he's talking, and his kid's like freaking out behind him, like falls over, is doing some dumb shit. And instead of just like being like, yo, sorry, guy, like, let me be a parent for 2 seconds, he like tries to pretend the whole time, like, he stare right at the camera and be super professional and like hit all his notes. And like it made it infinitely more awkward and disingenuous, like everything he was saying. Because like, we're all human beings, man. Like, we all get there's a fucking kid behind you falling over. Like, go help your kid, you weirdo. Like, what are you doing? You know, I think that's like a perfect example of kind of what you're saying, where it's like there is almost this necessity to be super polished, and maybe that comes from an older time where people wanted that, and maybe that's just not where we're at anymore.
There used to be a time when a suit was the ultimate sign of being distinguished and respectable, and I think we're going into a time where it feels like a lot of the people wearing the suits, the politicians, the top corporate executives, the newscasters, like we can't trust a word these guys say. And so they might look, even though they're wearing a suit, there's something greasy about it. We want the guy that's just wearing normal shit, talking like a normal person, figuring it out.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think that's very much wanted in today's day, especially when it comes to news and other media. How when you're doing stuff, when you're covering the kind of things that you're covering, and people are having opinions on both sides, and mainstream media is coming at you being like, oh, this isn't journalism or this and whatever. How important is it for you to get both sides of the coin? Because I feel like that's something, as someone who's seen your content, like that you've done much better late, like as of late, than like maybe when you were starting out. Like even the Kia Boys doc, I know like that was something like, there's the one or couple ladies that you talked to at the beginning were like, hey, is this affecting you, whatever. But I think even most recently in the one you did about the stolen cars in that other city in Bakersfield or whatever.
The dad that lost his trailer and couldn't go on vacation with his kids.
Spending some time with that, right? Yeah. And giving people that, like, how important is it for you, like when you're covering these types of super crazy things where people are so desensitized, to bring people back down to earth and be like, look, this is the flip side of it. This is like the actual consequences of it. How important is that for you as a journalist?
So important. It's about putting the right pieces on the board. Before it was just like, oh, we have this one crazy guy, boom, that's the story. But now it's telling all aspects of it. And the other thing is, it was like, we're really good at getting the street connections. I can literally go on my phone right now and be like, looking for a car thief in Los Angeles, looking for a crack dealer in Boston. We're going to get 15, 20 options in less than half an hour of people that are like, yep, come here, do this. But if I want to talk to a Harvard professor, they're going to take one look at my channel, and that would actually, before they like, that's how it would go. But now, like, we're trying to get that side of the coin too, where, okay, we have a billionaire that wants to talk to us. We just talked to this astrophysicist in Harvard about this Area 51 story that we're working on. Yeah. We want to be the guys that can go into any room and be trusted. And I guess to me, it was just really funny because the last corporate job I had, I was tasked with calling on Fortune 500 companies in Milwaukee area, talking to their top executives about business improvement strategies, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't do it for the life of me, dude. I just couldn't, I couldn't talk the corporate lingo. Yeah. I couldn't go do the stupid dinners where I had to pretend to be interested in tennis and then, give them a couple beers and hopefully I get the deal. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And I just thought it was so funny that I go straight from that to, hey, fentanyl dealer, they're like, want to meet up on Friday? Boom. Like, I guess I found my lane.
Yeah. And now you're kind of, now that you almost built the confidence there, where now you are establishing those connections, it sounds like, in that other world, maybe the corporate world or the academic world and stuff like that.
100%.
That'll be an interesting side of sort of your storytelling, I imagine.
And as far as telling both sides, I found politically it's easier to talk to people. Like, right-wing people are a little bit more willing to have a conversation about a controversial issue, whereas left-wing people, like, they'll hold up their pamphlets and their signs, but they, like, when you actually ask them about something, they kind of don't want to say it. And there's really important things happening right now. I really like the movement, the AOC and Bernie, like, they're having kind of a left-wing populist movement right now. Yeah. And they're filling stadium, like, they're
massive crowds.
Dude,
yeah.
So I want to go cover that. Yeah. I don't have, like, to me, I just want our government to do a good job. So if Trump does something good, I'm going to celebrate him. If he does something stupid, I'm going to, like, dude, what are are you kidding me? Now we're going to pay 25% more on our cars? Trump, what are you doing, you moron? Like, I'm going to give flowers where they're due, regardless of your side. I'm going to criticize. Yeah. And, like, I've tried to get into union stories because, these Amazon workers or these Starbucks workers, they'll organize and then they'll get, kind of taken out by the police and arrested. I wanted to do a story on United Healthcare and kind of the Luigi stuff. I found that it's a little bit harder for left-wing people to open up the door to me right now.
I got a couple connections for you when we get off here, because I'm connected with some people that have done some undercover union stuff over at Amazon and whatnot. I think that would be really cool, actually. Yeah, dude. No, it's true though. I also think too, sometimes, as somebody, I'm full transparency, very left-leaning person when it comes to a lot of like progressive stuff I believe in. I do have to say that I think sometimes people that are like the crazy nutshot, like the guys that in the Ku Klux Klan, that like everybody goes and talks to that one guy. I forget, Gideon Scott. Have you talked to that guy? I don't know.
No, but everyone claims like he's like the number one Klan,
the most racist guy. Yeah, whatever.
He's just this guy walking around in Arkansas,
just saying racist shit. Dude, yeah, I don't know. Like, guys like that, like, there is a level. I don't want to blanket statement everybody that's right wing, but guys that are like that far down the loony bin, like, they are just willing and excited to spout their dumb shit. Whereas maybe someone on the other side that's just as crazy, just as left, whatever, is maybe gonna just have the picket sign up or whatever. And so I think it is interesting, and I bet that you probably do run into that. And it's hard to.
Because the thing is, to me, like, I don't really try and look at things as left and right. I try and look at, like, I think the left and right have actually a ton of overlap. Like, if you take the blue collar people on the right and you take like the teachers union on the left and you mix, they have a lot of similar issues happening in their life. The cost of living is getting extreme. They're worried about Social Security getting gutted. Like, they could make a movement together that would be very powerful. And I wish that we could get out of like these tight little boxes that they're trying to put us in and just, I want what's good for the average American person, because that's most of America.
Yeah.
What are those things? Let's go for it.
Yeah, and I do think, we're kind of tie that into the mainstream media narrative. There is definitely a push of they push a lot of the culture war stuff to keep people, because like you're saying, there is a lot of similarities. We're all going to have to deal with the effects of dumb tariffs, right? Like, regardless of who you voted for, whatever, like, we all will have to deal with it, with the decisions that are made. So, one side playing it this way and one side playing it that way, like, it's that they try to make it about a bathroom, or they try to make it about a black versus white thing. Like, they do those things.
Lesbians too.
Yeah, lesbians too. And it's not to say that these things aren't also maybe potentially issues, but like, they focus on that, and when the real issue is somewhere else. And I think I heard you with an analogy on I forget the name of his show off the top of my head, but you were talking about the pipe analogy that you'd mentioned a couple of times, where if there was a pipe leak in your house and the plumber came over, and this one was 99% of the flooding and the other one was 1%.
Which pipe are you fixing first?
Yeah, but what the news does and what they want us to do is, let's focus on the 1%. Let's focus on what it says on this, or what this says, and whereas opposed to, like, we have like actual shit that we could fix, real shit that'll make everybody's lives better, and then we would probably not even care about this other culture war shit, because your life would be so. Think about like the average, I don't know, even if there's a conservative that's upset about like a trans bathroom or something, like, if my life was so good and like I'm living great, I live in the community I want to, everything's taken care of, I'm making a healthy amount of money, I love my wife, family, whatever, I don't give a fuck what
you're walking past.
Yeah, if there's a third bathroom and I had some disagreement about it, I'd be like, whatever.
Like, I'm not sure what's going on in there. It's a little strange, but I'm not gonna have to go on the news about it.
But if everything fucking sucks, right? And then I see this thing that maybe I disagree with, whatever, like, I'm gonna fucking blow up. And the same thing on the other side, right? And so it's like, there's silly things that I don't think we should be worried about in general, but it makes it a lot easier when everything else sucks to worry about the dumb shit.
Everyone is one public bathroom hermaphrodite sighting away from probably a political turmoil.
That could happen. Okay, what else we got? We talked mainstream news a little bit. This was interesting too. So, when you talked about, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. Criminals, when you're doing like a big thing with a big documentary on a criminal, you'll send them the footage beforehand, before it goes out, to make sure stuff's cut and whatnot. What is like the most difficult part about that? You guys have gotten a lot better at it now. You mentioned earlier in the show, like what is like the most common things that you guys are like having to cut out, or like that maybe they'll come back to you with, like, hey, get rid of this?
If the camera's moving a lot, it'll be like a 1.01 second of like a screenshot of like the blur missed, or hey, my buddy in the background that wasn't supposed to be there. Like, you have to blur him for 0.1 of a second.
Are they they do their due diligence? Like, they really watch that too, and like they'll let you know?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I mean, this is their, like, it's about to get released into the world where if you're not careful, like, it could be, I mean, some of these things are really serious. Like, especially if you're talking national crime, organized crime. Yeah. Like, yeah, you should probably sit down and watch it very carefully. Yeah,
especially if you're potentially going to be held liable for this stuff. That's huge. Are we ever gonna get Tommy G with some NBA players? Maybe doing an NBA player documentary. Professional sports athlete world in general.
What I know about Giannis, his brothers, his families, they run a really cool. Like, they're very family oriented. They're very smart. They're very. They're like the model player you'd hope comes to your team and makes a franchise. Like, they're doing everything right. I think it would be interesting to cover. I was thinking initially a Giannis documentary, but I think he already made
They did do one,
and they're gonna do it better than I would. So I'm like, to me, not the ballpark I need to play in.
Yeah. Or anything in the sports realm that you would be interested in, other than obviously wrestling for sure.
Well, that's what I mean. I want to cover somebody that that can help. So there's a big problem with Olympic level wrestling where a lot of these guys are making no money whatsoever. Like, for instance, did you ever hear the film Foxcatcher with Steve Carell? No. So back in the 80s, 90s, they had this really rich DuPont son that was out of his fucking mind, but he had the money to put an Olympic training center together. So they were on his property training, and eventually he went like crazy and shot one of the Dave Schultz, one of the big Olympic wrestlers at that time.
Jesus.
But a lot of these guys, it happens with UFC fighters too. Like they're working at Buffalo Wild Wings on the side while being a professional fighter.
Yeah.
I want to amplify the wrestling world more, where somehow we can get more funding for these guys so that they can represent our country on the highest stage. I mean, you go to other top countries around the world, like they're taken care of. Their guys are they're eating, they're training. The government has their back. They're like they don't have to worry about their mortgage while they're training to be an Olympic champion.
Yeah. Yeah, the same way we do with maybe other sports, with other Olympic sports, right? That's really interesting. Actually, I didn't know that was going on. I feel like in general, I know personally, we had Mackenzie Stiller on. She's under the Bellator banner now. She was undefeated at the time we had her. I think she's like 4-1 or 5-1 or something. She's doing great stuff. She's from my same hometown, and she at the same time, like she had just signed with Bellator, was still working like a regular job, right? This is like a world's class athlete, MMA, and she's like a submission specialist. She's training like twice a day, like doing insane shit to her body, and she's like still working like a regular 9-to-5 job in between that.
It's so strange. I mean, especially if you look at the UFC market, you see what they bring in every year, and then you see that a lot of their guys like can barely afford. And fighting is an expensive sport to be in. A lot of them have a nutritionist to help them cut weight. They have a striking coach, grappling coach. I mean, there's so much that it gets wrapped into what they do. And to think that guy's going out there fighting for his life and making like $16,000 at the highest level of the sport, whereas if he was in the NFL as a bench warmer, he'd be making so many more times than that.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I don't know. You would be more tapped into the fight world that I'm in. I know that Dana White gets criticized for that all the time.
It's a question he never likes getting asked and never has an answer that satisfies me.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know why. Like, it seems like that, and I'm not a big fan of the sport, but it seems as if it's getting bigger and bigger every year. Like, it seems like it's just continued to grow. So I don't know where the money is going, but obviously not to the talent, which is interesting.
There's a couple guys with a private jet and a yacht that are having a real good time, and there's fighters that are in the unemployment line right now, eating soup.
Yeah, it's wild with a lot of, I think, like, a lot of people don't understand, even in some of the other professional fields, right? Like the WNBA. Like the WNBA had its like biggest viewership last year, and like so many of these girls are still like hustling in the summertime. Like they're like playing in other leagues to like pay their bills, you know? Because
there's a difference there where their league doesn't make money.
That's true. Well, I mean, this was I think the first year that it did was this most recent year.
No deficit whatsoever.
I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but I believe this was their most profitable year, or like highest revenue ever.
I think it was, but it still lost $15 million, and it's subsidized by the NBA.
It has been subsidized by the NBA, yeah, definitely for the longest time. But I know that they've got quite a bit. It seems like they have a good plan on where they're going, and they're starting to make some money.
Some momentum for sure. Also, like I know Angel Reese, she has like 17 sponsorships. Like, so she might only make $85,000 as an athlete, but then Comcast, this, like she's stacking up some paper.
Yeah, we got to figure out, are UFC fighters, are they not allowed to do it?
That's the other thing that's really bothers me about how Dana White has run things is they used to be able, back in the olden days of UFC, they could put different patches on their fight shorts and have sponsors. Now they're only allowed to use the UFC official sponsorship that only pays the UFC directly and not the fighters.
Oh, that's bullshit, dude.
Because they can make so much extra money right there.
Yeah, and then he doesn't have to foot that bill. He doesn't have to foot that bill then if he's all complaining about money.
It's on them to go find it, and that would be the perfect way to handle his problem.
Wow, that's actually terrible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's hard not to get mad about it.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the sport and whatever, and I mean it's cool that he's built this thing up, but that's not a good look, man. That's not a good look. I brought up for sports in general though. There's this LeBron James phenomenon going on right now.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to show you a little bit of this before we wrap today. You're not a big NBA guy, but you're familiar with LeBron James,
of course,
one of the greatest basketball players ever. There's this push now. The younger generation is trying to push the 90s guys out. They're trying to say, we're done with the 90s. Jordan wasn't all that. LeBron's the guy. I'm a Bulls fan, so I still pull for MJ right now.
Gang,
baby. But I love a good internet meme and whatnot. And the LeBron glazing, as it's called, is massive now. I mean, his birthday was not long ago. People were showing their jerseys with the finished product of their back shots to LeBron's jerseys.
Is that on the hub that I can check out after the show?
There might be. I feel like there is. I feel like it's weird. I swear to God, I saw somebody have their girlfriend in a LeBron James jersey while they were hitting it from behind just to
I could see that being an arousal factor.
That could be a fetish. A lot of people love it. I mean, there's like videos of LeBron like falling into the stands like after he saves a ball, and people are like, I will pay any price if this is guaranteed. That this happens every time I buy a ticket to a Lakers game. I'll pay $50,000 to sit courtside. I don't care. So people love the guy. They're doing everything.
He could start a cult, it sounds like, dude.
Oh, he could, dude. I think he could. I legitimately, I don't think he should, but he could run. He could run for office, and do very well.
LeBron James,
bro. Could you? Ah, man, it would just be ridiculous, bro. He wouldn't even have to say anything. He wouldn't have to go up. He could join whatever Bernie and AOC are doing right now. He could just show up. They win the election.
That would be an interesting one.
That would be wild.
What? I don't know if you had a point about LeBron James that you want to go more into.
We'll get it to in a second, but you go ahead.
Is the capacity they have to blackmail people, dude? Like, I guarantee there's someone in the fucking federal government right now that's like, okay, like, what are the % chance that LeBron James would run for office? Okay, let's look up his porn search history. Let's look up the one time in high school when we did X, Y, Z, and they have like a file ready to go.
It is interesting.
When you get to those levels, dude, it feels like it gets really scary.
It is scary. It's the
you
same
jack
thing.
off to the wrong thing once, dude, you're out of office.
Yeah, there's no
I'm
way
already out of office.
There's no way I can run, dude. There's no way I can run. If you check the search history, it's bad.
We're screwed.
We're absolutely fucked. But we're gonna pull this up. So they're writing songs now about LeBron.
So
it went from, you know, just posting weird memes, talking about, you know, his voluptuous figure, to now we're writing full on songs.
He has nice glutes, by the way.
He does, yeah. People are really. I mean, he's got all those videos of him dancing in like just the yoga shorts or whatever, man. Yeah, he looks well. He keeps it together. He spends $1 million on his body every year. Can you click the next tab over and pull up? Click it and we'll add a new one. Just search. Can you search up the LeBron James TikTok songs? There's like a compilation we'll pull up.
Is it AI or someone really rapping?
People really sing these. Actually, specifically, can we do the Man on the Lakers? That's my favorite one, I think. Man on the Lakers is amazing. Some of them are uniquely bad too, where they're like almost purposefully a little out of key.
Where there's
like,
a charm to it, kind of.
Yeah, and it really adds to it. Yeah, you can just play any one of those. I'm sure it'll be. Just switch the audio so it comes out of the computer so he can hear it. You can do the YouTube. Yeah, you can do the YouTube. That's fine because I think I know that one. Man on the Lakers. Yep.
This is what you listen to before you go to bed every night?
This is, well, you know, I was getting ready. I still hoop quite a bit, and Sunday before basketball, that's what I'm listening to, bro. This gets me ready.
That white boy's on the court warming up, huh?
Yeah, all the way down. The X one, there we go. Right above, one more, right there. Yep, there you go. No, you're good. And then we'll just pull that guy up. Let's hear it. Oh, this ain't him, bro. This is too polished. No, just search up "Man on the Lakers" YouTube in the YouTube tab bar. I'll show you which one it is.
Do you ever get this thing? Like, I don't know if you smoke weed or not.
I don't know.
Okay.
What's up?
Like sometimes you get a little high, and then you're like, "Oh, I gotta show you this video," and then like it takes forever to find the video. By the time you pull it up, and they don't laugh, and you're like, "Oh, fuck!
Fuck did I just do?" Yeah. You can skip ahead a little, just like 10 seconds in.
It would feel so good.
You know the song "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson?
Is that a duo?
You can turn it down a little so it's not super loud. On the YouTube. Oh, that's good actually.
I hope they play this at your funeral.
I hope so too, man. I hope he's there. Actually, I hope I outlive LeBron. He's way older than me.
What would you do if he came to your funeral? Would you be pumped, you think?
I would. I think from whatever afterlife there is, this is the part that goes crazy. Just this, you will have this. I'm gonna have to find you on TikTok and just send.
This is borderline erotica.
Yeah.
Okay, this got
it's
good.
fucking good.
Intro needed to work, but the chorus is definitely awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And this is like, right? Can you do? You pause it. Let's do. You gotta see. There's literally, the meme now is that you never hear the same one twice. You'll be on TikTok. LeBron songs. Let's just. There's got to be. Yeah, just do the ranking. I'm sure that'll play all of them. We'll quickly run through them. This was the first one that started it all. Totally original song. I've got this on Spotify. Not even joking.
I wonder, do you think he listens to this on his car ride home from the game?
Like Bronny's like tapped in. Like Bronny's young, so like he's got to have shown.
Is it true that Bronny's kind of only playing at the level he is because Daddy's clearing the way for him? I've heard that rumor.
Like, these people are genuinely talented singers, some of them. And they're like, wait, they're just like,
Dude, they
I'm going to
booked
put
a
this in
studio
the...
session. They put $40 down and they made a hit, dude.
Like, these are some of the most popular. They just cover it. That's the one we just heard.
That's only number 2. I want to see what number 1 is.
What's that? It's a great song. Oh, this one's good. Promiscuous. They're just all like a little bad, and I think it makes it so much better.
Dude, this is just the magic of the internet.
Yeah,
The fact that this even exists is shows the beautiful innovations of society, and this is what the Americans are focusing on. Meanwhile, the Chinese kids are becoming engineers and freaking launching rockets and shit, and this is what we're doing. We're screwed, dude.
Yeah, we're fucked, man.
We're done.
We have kids, like you said.
Our golden era is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's rough. Okay, I want to hit a couple more. Do you still have a little bit of time? I don't want to waste your whole night here. Okay, what do you think people? We talked a little bit before about mainstream stuff, mainstream news. You know, lady pressing you, whatever. What do you think people get wrong or maybe like don't understand about you or what you do? Like, what do you think that they like miscategorize the most?
I think people assume that if you film someone, you're in a way like responsible for what they do, or like you need to take a harsh stance on whatever they're doing. Like, for example, I did a 3-part series with the Jacksonville police, and people were mad that I did that. But then people, and it's a very small percentage of the feedback. But then, you know, if I go to a hood and the guys are acting stupid, like, I don't know. I guess maybe the thing that most people don't get is how much work. Vice had an entire company to put out a weekly video. Yeah. We have 6 people, and we hustle our absolute balls off. We put ourselves at risk a lot, and we work a lot of hours to give people a free 30-minute plus documentary every single week. And I don't need a pat on the back for it, but I think just so people know that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to bring you what we do. Yeah, you're not just a guy showing up with a camera 30 minutes beforehand and then, rolling for 30 minutes and we're out. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of planning. It sounds like there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of, I don't want to say like security, but basically like, trying to protect yourself, protect the people that you're interviewing and whatnot so you can get then future leads and whatnot. It sounds like there's a lot of pre-work that goes into it, a lot of executing, and then a lot of the post, obviously, with the editing and whatnot. Because the
voiceovers, research, new contacts, and then so the list goes on. I guess to me, it's a job that I love. I could spend 80 hours a week doing this and never lose any interest. And like I wake up every morning excited to tackle what I got to do. So I don't know. I guess I'm happy that this even is a thing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I even get to do this as a job. To me, like I woke up and won the lottery, so I'm just gonna keep on doing the same thing until the wheels fall off the tracks.
As I feel like you should at this point. Has there been a story at all that you've covered that like you like maybe it takes a while to go by because you're working at 100 miles an hour. You're like on to the next story. Wherever you like maybe a month or 2 later or 6 months later, you like look back, you're like, that was insane. They like you think back now and you're like, whoa, like what the fuck was I like? Who was I around? Like how did this even happen?
There's a few of them. One that comes to mind is we were with this gang out in Iowa, and at the end of the shoot, they got very comfortable with us, which I'm glad that they did. But they got a little too comfortable where one of the guys pulled out a Snapchat video of a recently shot body. Like someone literally like they smoked him and then they took a video of it and then they're like, haha, look at this. Like they thought I was like gonna laugh and enjoy it, and then at the same time, people started going live on Instagram, being like and talking shit, like, "Oh yeah, we out here and fuck this guy and fuck that guy." Instantly, I'm like, Keegan, Miguel, Carr. Hey guys, it's been great. We gotta go. So like knowing when things can go south, because it was a very small little town that we were in, not Cedar Rapids. What's the capital? Anyways, we were one of the biggest Iowa cities, and like the ops live 5 minutes from these guys. I'm not about to wait around to see if they do a drive-by while we're here, especially after I just saw evidence that they just shot somebody in the rival crew.
And there's other dudes on IG Live talking shit. Like, that's a great way to basically summon your ops.
I'm going to get caught in a hailfire of bullets not meant for me just because I was in the wrong place and people went live when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, I imagine that. It's just, I just wonder, that's something as like a creative, like every once in a while, we're always you're trying on to the next project where I'm on to the next music, next song, or next album, or next podcast, or whatever. And every once in a while, like you'll have a moment. It'll just be like a random Wednesday night, and I'm like, dude, that was crazy that we interviewed so and so 6 months back. Like that was wild. Like it'll just like sometimes it'll hit you way later. So I was just curious about that because I feel like you interview some of the most insane people ever. So I figured some of that would have to come back eventually. Like you don't process it all right away, I imagine.
Yeah. And it comes back in flashes. You're exactly right. Like, one of the scariest moments of my life was getting raided by the Mexican police. We were in Piedras Negras, Mexico, which is right across the river from Eagle Pass, which is where a lot of the crossings happen. That's when Elon Musk did a big press thing there about illegal immigration. I mean, thousands of people were going across there all the time, or every single day, I should say. So we got a call from this guy named Hostage, and he's like, hey, I think I'm wanted. I think that I'm wanted by police. I don't know if this is a good idea to shoot this tomorrow. It's like you start getting scared. You're like, okay, like, should I even be talking to this guy? And I'm like, you know what? We're here. Let's cross in the morning. We knock it out in about an hour. We do it at 10 a.m. Boom.
Yeah.
I talked to him. He's a really cool guy. He's been deported from the United States a couple times. Just like a career criminal. Now trying to be a tattoo artist and probably involved in some other things that he didn't want to talk about on camera. And we're having a great time. Very smart, interesting guy. Going to the bathroom. Come back out. As soon as I come back out, boom, door gets kicked in. And el piso la verga. Get your ass on the ground. Three police officers in ski masks and rifles, finger on the trigger, come clear the room. We all are down. And like that's a moment you're like, am I gonna die? Is this a prank? Is this cartel? Is this police? Are they good police? Bad police? Timed to it was a very weird warp moment where like it's fast and slow at the same time. It was very strange and almost out of body.
Yeah.
And
that's one that you probably processes for a while in the back of the head afterwards.
I remember when I first got back. This is probably the only one I would say I got slight PTSD from. I remember the doorbell rang, and instantly I just started my heart started going almost panic kind of symptoms. Yeah. And then I kind of grew out of it. But
God, yeah, that's crazy, dude. Do you ever so the one of the other things that I saw people I'm trying to speak for some of the people that were trying to criticize you, and some of it I feel like is a little unfair, some of it maybe is. When people one thing I kept seeing was okay, why are we having to get more footage of something if there's already footage of it exists, and if you want to talk about it, do you have because I think you guys do, and we've talked about this at length. I feel like your team does an excellent job capturing stuff and with the editing of everything, right? And you guys do use some news footage too in there. But one criticism I saw was people were okay, I think it was specifically the New York subway kids or whatever. They were if these kids do it and we have footage of it and we know it's bad, why would you give them a camera and have them do it again for you when we could just use the footage of them? Is that do you ever is that something that maybe either you thought of and were well, this is the reason why we did it this way, or was it maybe just something oh, well, we kind of didn't think of it that way? But that was something I saw a couple of times.
As much as we can, we want to get the real raw action. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of documentaries out there that use archives and B-roll footage. Yeah. That's cool, but I'm in the field playing the game, and that's and it's just where do you want to draw the line? To me, it's people get to, from the safety of their house, they get to enjoy something that took great risk to do. I guess if you're not excited about it, don't click on it. I don't know. Yeah. I guess I don't know what to say to a person like that. I guess there's a line of danger. Okay, is there a guy about to do a high-speed chase, and then if he crashes into someone while you're filming him, I definitely get where you're going. With that, and I think there's a moral. I don't really want to.
In the sense of, I don't mean to cut you off. Just in the sense of I feel like you do a very good job of of riding this line and toting this line. I say most of the time you're trying to be as just straight faced. Let me just show you the action. When it came to the subway one, the criticism I was seeing was because first off, that video was insane. The fact that that's a real thing that people do, I had no idea that was a thing.
Someone died that day that we were there.
That you showed up on. That's what I'm saying. That's insane. And I mean, in the video, you had mentioned too, I thought it was a good disclaimer to mention, no amount of views, because that's what kids do it for, is for the social media attention, I believe, right? They're posting clips and pictures and videos of them doing it. You posted, or you mentioned something about to the effect of, no amount of views or clicks is worth your life, which is 100%
I told the kid
true.
that we hadn't met up with, but just happened to be subway surfing as we were filming, and then he came across the tracks.
Yeah, that was insane, man. He just was there.
But I guess as far as a moral thing, the big decision we made in that one is I made sure, like, I had all these kids get out their IDs, and I'm like, look, we're gonna do one run of this actual subway surfing. We're gonna strap you up with cameras, which I could see the argument of why that would be reckless or endangering somebody. I get that, and I agree. But hey, only people that are allowed to do it have to be 18 or older. So there's gonna be a crew of, like, there could have been probably 15 kids on this train doing it, but only 2 or 3 of them were over 18. So I'm like, okay, either you guys stay with me. I don't want to see you on the train. I don't want you to do that around me.
Yeah.
The adults that want to do it, okay,
like they're going to do it anyway, so here's the camera.
That's the thing, is I'm never going to ask someone to do something that they don't already do all the time.
And they don't already want to do. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I think where you do draw the line is filming a crime in progress. So, like, my guy Felix that is robbing cars on a daily basis. I'm not going to drive with him to the dealership knowing that we're going to hit a dealership, knowing that it's going to affect this dealer's business, and his, like, the next morning his employees are picking up glass, they're making insurance calls. Like, it's a nightmare when all these things happen. I'm not going to go with a gang on a drive-by shooting.
Yeah.
If people, you'd be surprised, like, when a lot of these criminals, they will film their own stuff, and I'll just use their archive footage. So
that makes sense. I feel like that shows a level of growth too, because I mean, I feel like in the Kia Boys one, like, right, you were kind of like with him while he did that first car or whatever that they end up fucking the Hyundai?
He demonstrated on my own car.
Oh, that was your car. Yeah. Okay, so that, I feel like that's good to not show the exact, like, like, we're gonna do this, especially when you're saying, like, if he's telling you the dealership beforehand or whatever, if he wants to give you that information, it's good for you to, I guess, for your conscience, right, to be like, don't tell me the dealership that you're going to rob, because then morally now I have to ask myself, like, do I call them or do I get you in trouble, whatever?
Right.
And obviously don't go with them, because then if you go with them, then you literally are just like.
Same thing with the New York
legally.
drivers when they're driving all crazy. I said there's no way we're going fast in a car together. Like, we can drive around the street to do the interview in the car, but we're not going 100 down the highway.
Like, you're not going to bring me with you and do this shit.
Yeah, because there's no way I want a kid, like, okay, we crashed into a minivan with full of kids, or a couple going out for a date. Like, I'm not going to be a part of that whatsoever. So I guess that's the line I would say I draw, is like, I want to get as real and raw as I possibly can. Because then you get people on the other side of the coin, like, you can't please everybody, where people are like, oh, that's fake, you're making it up,
like,
blah,
you're
blah, blah.
fake it, you told us that happened, it didn't happen.
So it's
that
like
type of shit. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you, for specifically the New York one, dude, are you in the subway? Were you, like, did you ride the train then while they were, like, surfing it?
I was one of the camera operators. Like, I ran with them onto the train. They got up in front, and then they went to another car.
Wow, dude. That's had to be. So then, are you just kind of like waiting for to
that
obviously get your own
I was really
back?
nervous about, because I'm like, this is fucking so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, we just talked to a guy that was missing like 75% of his head because he hit a pole and somehow
I'm
survived.
not gonna lie to you, that part, and people can go watch it. We linked your stuff down below too. So, like, if people go check that one out, it's a more recent one, I think. That was, like, so sad listening to that kid talk about it.
And to me, that's how we know that we did the peace justice. Is it's not just, hey, this is cool, go do it. It's, okay, we're talking to a kid that almost died, and his dad, and his friends in his living room about what happened. And as these kids, like the one kid that wasn't set up, that just showed up on the scene, like, I'm having a heart-to-heart with this kid, telling him not to do it again. Most of the gang videos you see, the guys will look at the camera. Like, you could get the most, like, certified crip in Los Angeles, and he'll be like, kids, don't join. Like, that's the end of the day. The message is a lot of the people I profile, what's your message to the youth? Don't do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's important for me to capture. Like, I don't want it to be, this isn't a highlight reel of.
And I believe them when they say that shit. Like what we're talking about earlier, like, a lot of these people, like, they do live, like, when it comes to, like, maybe these, like, super hood dudes, or these, like, rappers that are doing all this dumb shit.
This is their real life.
Like,
this
they genuinely are probably fucking depressed.
Yeah.
And, they probably mean it when they're like, don't do this. Like, you don't want to end up like, it might look, this element might look cool, or this element might look insane, like, exciting. Don't do it. And it was interesting too, even like the contact you had at the beginning of the New York City one, he was basically piggybacking on what you were saying to that kid. He was like, yo, bro, like, I grew up out, I did this shit. Like, it's not worth it. It's dumb. Yeah. He's like, I'm done, which is crazy. It's just crazy that, like, subway surfing is a real thing. I thought it was just brain rot. Like, something we stick on the bottom of a video to improve my watch time. But, like, that's insane, man. And it's crazy that, like, so many people are getting hurt and still doing it. Like, like, one kid, people were eating Tide Pods. One kid ate a Tide Pod and got sick, and everybody's like, yo.
And if the news reports on it, are they promoting it? I don't think at all. Like, here's the thing, is we all get to make our own choices at the end of the day. And to me, there's not many lines I will draw as a journalist. Like, I will talk to a member of the Ku Klux Klan. I will talk, like, think about this. There's people right now, there's world leaders that some people would brand as war criminals. Yeah. Someone could say that about Putin. Someone that could say that about Netanyahu. Like, someone could say it about George Bush. It doesn't matter. Like, pick whatever side you're on. People are gonna sit down and ask them questions, and I think the day like, oh, you platform this person, you platform a killer. My job is to get into the heads of people that live one-of-one lives and see what they're about. If it's not for you, fucking watch PBS. But if it is, let's rock and roll and let's do this thing, man.
Yeah, and I think too, even like we were talking earlier about like if I would interview that serial killer or whatever, and it's like maybe I don't want to interview him, but like if you're gonna do it, I respect that you want to do that, and I think that people being able to do that is, you're deciding with your own platform, and like you said, if they don't like it, they don't have to watch. Like, you're not forcing anybody to watch it. So I do respect that 100%. What does Tommy G eat on the road though, dude? That's my question, because you are fucking. First off, this guy, I'm not checking your physique right this second, but I've seen the videos. This guy was a wrestler, Division III wrestler. I've seen you're jacked. This guy stays in good shape. He's running around doing crazy shit. How do you stay in shape, and what are you eating to do it?
We eat a lot of burritos, dude. So I'm an Airbnb over hotel guy, because we live like a little tribe, and so we're always cooking a lot of ground beef, a lot of egg burritos, bananas, and freaking peanut butter. Like, we eat very clean. Like, that's the biggest thing that, like, I have a very pussy ass body system. Like, if I eat one dose of fast food, like, they count me out for like a month. You know?
Did you like cut out fast food and then that happened? Because that happened to me, where I stopped eating.
Now you eat it again and it ruins.
Yeah, like I can eat like some of the higher tier fast food. Like, you give me like
the fast casual, like Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Yeah,
I can do Culver's too. Like, I can do like a fish sandwich from there. But like anything else, man. Like, if I go eat McChicken from McDonald's, I literally will. That'll fuck my stomach.
Yeah, I become intolerant to any sort of like really, really bad food. We try. We work out on the road, but I try and go to jiu-jitsu a few times a week. Run in the woods with my dog a few times a week.
Yeah,
I have dumbbells that I run around my pond with. A lot of push-ups, a lot of pull-ups.
Hell yeah.
So I feel good when I stay in shape. If I don't work out for a couple of days, my wife is gonna tell me, because I'm gonna act like a maniac. Like, you're acting weird. Like, go work out. Like, I need to.
Yeah, it's important, man. Especially when you're on the road as much as you are, dude. Like, to stay in shape, that's a hard thing. You see a lot of like music artists where like they look fine and then they go on the road and they're eating shit and they're sleeping like shit, and like that's just kind of what the job asks of you. And when you never come back and like reset and put those other things in place to take care of yourself physically, it fucks you up mentally too.
Yeah. The other thing is I barely drink.
Okay, that's
I think alcohol is one of the easiest things to like throw you off your game. Like, I even did it. I try and host a boys' night once a month, where a bunch of guys from the gym will come over. We'll talk. We'll cook. We'll have a good time. I had 2 Modelo's. The next day I woke up getting ready for the Saturday morning jiu-jitsu class. I'm like, God, I feel it, dude. Even
really?
2 beers,
yeah,
I feel
shit,
it now.
Man.
So drinking, not drinking is a big part of the recipe, because we fly 15 plus times a year.
Yeah, you gotta have good miles.
Dude, my hips, dude. I'm starting to get old. Like, I gotta stretch a lot more, dude.
Yeah, the hip flexor stretches will get you, dude.
Yes, 100%.
Especially doing what you're doing, man, in like combat sports and whatnot. You gotta be careful. You can't be tight. That's legit, man. I respect it. I saw a video of you and who was it? Which rapper? Babytron, like hooping, and I'm like, dude, Tommy G is ripped, bro. Like, give this guy some credit, bro. We
photoshopped a lot of that.
It was all CGI. I just respect that, like, being on the road. I have people that I know that have gone on the road or toured for like smaller acts, like open for people and stuff. And
it's a tough lifestyle.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Staying up late, sleeping in different places all the time, eating gas station food.
Yeah,
it's a hard life to live.
Any favorite spot? Either when you've been on a shoot that maybe you got to eat somewhere good, if you got to go out to a nice restaurant, or when you're back in Milwaukee, maybe just some place you'd like to shout out.
Okay, 2 places. When I'm on the road with my boys, this is gonna be the corniest, gayest little thing, but we love the Texas Roadhouse. Okay, that's
Texas Roadhouse is amazing.
We get a ribeye there, we get potatoes, and we're happy. Back home,
how many rolls can you smash if you wanted to?
Too many. Where you almost have to like you regret
cut
it.
you off. Yeah, like someone tell Tommy
it's
to stop.
Becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Back home, me and my wife really like Cafe Centro. It's a little Italian place in River West. Beautiful, dude. They're always cooking. You walk past and you waft your nose and you're like, this is a good spot to settle in.
I'm gonna have to check that out, man. I'm always looking for good food in the city. Respect. They got the Tommy G stamp of approval. Is there anything we didn't touch on today that we need to touch on?
For everyone out there that is hustling, making moves, trying to accomplish the dream, I would just say, be persistent. Keep the faith. There's gonna be days where you feel like you're running up a hill that you'll never climb.
Yeah.
And enjoy the moment, because All life ever is this little adventure, and there's no destination that's ever going to make us pumped. It doesn't matter your subscriber count, your bank account, your bodies you smash, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever going to make you satisfied except for enjoying the steps you take on the journey. So just be cool with where you're at.
Yeah. Find a way to enjoy now,
Mhm.
because now is literally forever. That's all you'll have. So,
Correct.
dude, thank you for making the time, man. Appreciate you.
Congratulations on
Yeah.
episode 300,
Thank
man.
you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you putting up with all the ridiculousness and listening to my LeBron James covers over here. So that's excellent. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been tapped in with us for 300 weeks straight, and then anybody who listened or is viewing this today here on YouTube or days later over on Spotify, Apple Music. This guy, please switch to that. He's got anal on the fucking clipboard. We'll
That's
take a
what's
pic.
coming next. Subscribe to the page.
Yes.
See it, and
There we go. I gotta say one last quick shout out to our patrons that are up on the screen right now. If you guys are interested in getting behind the scenes access to extra videos, extra podcasts, as well as a series where I break down how I mix, master, write, record every single one of my songs, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita. You can help support the channel for as little as $1. With all that stuff, I gotta say shout out to Alpine House 2 again for sponsoring this episode.
which, by the way, they've targeted me on Instagram, and I want to stay there, dude. It looks amazing.
Alpine House 2, you should, man.
Yes.
Yeah, you absolutely should. Reach out
Looks
to them. Tell them
beautiful.
that you were literally on the show. They will hook it up. So,
Okay.
I want to say thanks to everybody. I'm very proud to have done this show for 300 weeks. I have a ton of fun getting to meet fun people and hang out with friends and chop it up with you guys and spout my nonsense. So thank you guys for that. I will see you guys next week.